Yo, welcome. Hey, it's Mr. Young.
And it's foreign in the building, bro. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're here recording on a Sunday afternoon, man. We have so much in store for you. Okay, so this upcoming Saturday will be Grapplemax's Causeway Jam. The Singapore versus Malaysia rivalry, as it were, quote unquote, It started from football, right?
I think it started ever since we got kicked out of Malaysia. Probably that started it.
Oh, wow, we're really going way back. Okay.
Yeah. But you know what's the best rivalries? Like every single sports rivalry has been born out of some sort of political strife. Don't you realize?
Yeah, US. Well, then again, when was the US-Canada conflict ever a thing?
It was never a rivalry.
So that one was it something truly born out of wrestling US versus Canada?
Yeah, probably it's just Bret Hart was so good at being a heel that he turned everyone against Canada when no one would have turned on Canada.
Exactly.
I love how everything becomes so socio-economic. Even in the perceived fictional world of wrestling, you can kind of use it, as an easy cheap hit, right? Or a pop. So yeah, I love that Grapplemax is utilizing that as like a team event. And now that we are kind of following the local wrestling calendar really, really closely, it's something that we look forward to. Like, there's Royal Rumble season, and then for local wrestling, there's like Causeway Jam to kick off the year for Grapplemax.
Causeway Jam season. I don't know if you knew this, but I just found this out. They also have the inaugural Causeway Jam Cup. It's a thing.
Okay, wait. So they're doing it like in Singapore? Oh no, is it a football thing?
So this is what their social media reads. For the first time ever, the promotion that wins the best out of these 5 matches will become the inaugural winners of the Causeway Jam Cup.
When is that officially going to happen?
I guess at this weekend's Causeway Jam lah.
No, because they have technically two Causeway Jam editions, right? One in Singapore, one in Malaysia. So is it going to be like a cumulative thing over 2 shows or what?
Well, from what I'm reading on the Instagram, it seems like it's going to go down this weekend.
Okay. I'm very interested to see how that, affects everything, like booking wise, who's going to be the winners, and also how that affects the fallout if they are going to do a Grapplemax and Causeway Jam with MyPW in Malaysia in the next few months.
Yeah, or maybe it could be a thing where, now Singapore is the champ, then the next time they go over to MyPW, they will contest for that cup. You know what I mean? So it's something that gets traded back and forth, maybe. I don't know. And there's always that thing on the line. We'll have to wait and see. But that aside, of course, once again, Causeway Jam, this upcoming weekend, we have Kelvin from Grapplemax that we are going to chat with a little bit later on the show as well. Kelvin, who very recently was in Scotland doing his student exchange, because he is a student after all. This whole internship thing is a real thing.
Legit, bro.
Yeah.
That one shoot, bro.
but the crazy thing is, he pivoted that into an opportunity to learn to grow as a wrestler. I can't wait to talk to him about it.
Yeah, and the best part is he's not only sharing his very, very like one in a million, like literally, right? Because he's the only Singaporean wrestler or anyone who actually wrestled on Scotland, unless there's anyone that wants to kind of put their hands up and dispute that. First ever Singapore wrestler to wrestle in Scotland. And this will be his first ever time on Kick to the Gut for a full-on sit-down interview podcast. So you're going to learn a lot about his life and, of course, his journey in Scotland and in Grapplemax as well.
Can't wait. That's coming up a little bit later on the show. But, all right, we got so much to talk about. Something that I was unexpectedly surprised and very, I loved it. Like, I didn't expect to love it this much. But then again, I haven't been really paying attention to NXT. Okay, for me, NXT has become that program where it's like, 1 week I'll watch if I'm free. Next week I'm busy, I don't watch. But I actually sat down this morning and watched NXT Vengeance Day. And we'll get to the review in just a bit. But let's rewind. Let's go chronologically, shall we?
Okay, for sure. I can't wait to talk about wrestling, man. Let's go.
Yes, let's catch up on all things wrestling. Let's start with Raw. And once again, we start with a lot of yeeting. In terms of where the storyline is going, we finally have, as far as all the quote-unquote Rumble winners choosing, right? They've all made their choices already. So which is great, I think. There's no more questions to be had about that. Now, I think the focus is on Elimination Chamber and we know who those champions will face, I guess.
Yeah, like I feel like it's kind of like one half of the equation, right? People
Yes,
kind of look at Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber. It's like, okay, one set of winners settle one half of all the
correct.
main event scene. EC is like the second half, right?
Do you like that, or would you rather it bleed into each other, be a bit more ambiguous? This year it seems a bit more cut and dry. It's like, okay, we have our two Rumble opponents. Now we're gonna find the EC opponents.
Okay, not gonna lie, right?
Mm.
I'm a fan of variety, but I'm also a traditionalist. That means
Yeah.
I want the winner
Structure.
of the winner of the Royal Rumble needs to have a road to WrestleMania that leads into the main event.
Mm.
Whether them calling their shot this early, factors into a very interesting road to Royal Rumble. Road to WrestleMania. I'm not too sure, right?
Yeah.
Because like now you know what. So what is Jay and Gunther gonna do for the next 3 months that's gonna be interesting other than him getting beat up all the time, right?
Well, like I said in the past couple of weeks, just watch the next, was it 10 weeks? It's going to be
Yep.
Gunther brutalizing Jay, and that's the way they even started. They kicked things off by having Gunther come out and berating him on the mic and then beating him up.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I love it, right? Because if you want to talk about like who should Jay face, they at least gave a week where he a bit of like uncertainty. Okay, lah, maybe
Yes.
Cody, but we all know Jay and Gunther is such a perfect face versus heel
Yeah.
match. And even though yes, we have seen it already very very recently, in fact, just a few
Yeah.
weeks back, I think they can tell a new story now. Now it's really like crunch time. Jay
Yeah.
needs to prove that he can hang in the main event.
And to their credit, right? I was not a believer. Even up until Royal Rumble when Jay won. Remember, I was still like, oh, do we really want to see Jay versus Gunther
Yeah,
again?
yeah, yeah.
And then they made me a believer the next week when they started telling the story of how like he keeps losing to Gunther, he can't win the big one. And I was like, oh, this is where they're going with this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've said this, I'll say it again. It's Kofi Mania, it's the Yes movement all over again.
And of course, the journeyman wrestler of Jey Uso, it's real, right? Like you
Yes,
really
yes.
see, and I think he also believes or he knows his journey is real. Like you
Yeah.
can see him like week to week, right, growing in confidence, learning to love
Yeah.
himself, believing that he can be a solo star. And we have seen the growth like from the beginning. So I think that creates an even closer emotional connection.
Is there a story to be told about how Gunther purposely, forced Jay to pick him, preyed on his emotion because he knows deep down inside he already beat this fella, ma. So it makes sense for Gunther, even though he claims that, beating you will do nothing for my legacy. He said that last week, the previous week, right? So
Yeah.
is there something to that, do you think?
I think so. But if I was booking this, right, we have seen a lot about Jay's journey.
Yeah.
I want to see Gunther's journey now,
Yeah.
right? This is the time, bro. They need to film him going back to Austria, training in the Swiss Alps, freaking
I-
carrying log. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I want to see his old footage when he was Walter and he was like twice
yeah,
the
yeah.
man.
Correct. Like I want to know all that, right? Because we always assume that he's the dominant, like final boss champion. But I want to see that vulnerability. I want to see the motivation for him being the champion that he wants to be. Why
Yeah.
is being a champion so important to him? What like does it represent for him? Because we've
Yeah.
talked about it, but I want to see a bit of that vulnerability and
Right.
his motivations that will make him such a compelling person to be defeated.
It's it's very obvious too, like where these two characters lay. One is very emotional. He like Jay literally made his choice. I will pick it after the beatdown, right? Like he
Yeah,
made
yeah.
it as an emotional response. Whereas the other one is very calculative, very like proper German scientist, even though he's not German, Austrian. But you get the point, right? They're cold and calculating. So they are polar opposites in terms of characters, which makes for a very good story, I feel. So I love that they're doing this and I love how it's starting.
So my question to you is, do you think that there is still time to do a swerve? And when I say swerve, meaning, do you think Triple H wants to like he trying to be a bit too hipster and
Uh-huh.
like, like kind of fuck up a bit of the road to WrestleMania? What I mean by that is, we've seen this before. 2006, Rey Mysterio, right?
Uh.
He wanted to call his shot for the world title, but because he kena emotionally goaded by Randy Orton
Eh.
to put his title shot on the line, lost it at EC or No Way Out at that point in time, and like then it became a triple threat, right? Do
Oh.
you think that Jey Uso, because of like the weeks of beat down, suddenly get too emotional? Like, you know what? Call my shot. Like, I'm gonna put my title shot on the line. I want him now. I want him to challenge for the title now.
Like what, on a Raw? Or like EC seems pretty
Cut and dry.
yeah, too close already. And on Raw seems like a huge, like, huh, really? Are you gonna do that? I mean, it might pop a rating on Netflix, but I don't see it. I think that it's, to me, it's a very straight road to WrestleMania, and I don't mind it. Like, it's a different story if the road to WrestleMania is kind of, oh, it's boring lah, you know, it's like, like here, I think there's still a lot of emotional storytelling to be done that they can milk, and I think that's fine.
And then, if that's the case, Jay Gunther more or less settled, right?
Yeah.
Should it main event the whole of WrestleMania, like night 2 ending, or is it like a night 1?
Bro, it's not. Okay, let's be real. We all love Jay. We love Gunther. It's not gonna be night 2. Night 2 is gonna be Cody, CM Punk, or Cody and Cena, wherever the chips may fall. I still think it's gonna be Cody, CM Punk. An argument can be made for Cody, CM Punk, John Cena in some sort of triple threat, but ideally, like, this is night 1 main event. Night 1. Night 1. Let's not get crazy here.
Okay, so do you see? Okay, I mean, we are booking way ahead of time.
Yeah.
Do you see a WrestleMania 20 final cutscene scenario where like Jay wins the title on night 1, Cody wins the title on night 2, and then they do a hug it out in the middle of the ring?
No, because I want CM Punk to win the title on night 2. What are you talking about, man? Let's go. Okay.
You're teasing the CM Punk fan, bro. I like
That's
it.
right. I know you're a big CM Punk fan. Let's carry on. Damage Control, Liv and Raquel, they had a match, they had a thing, right? So it looks like they are transitioning and focusing more on the tag titles. Do you get that vibe with Liv and Raquel? Like, Liv, even though she's in EC, it really feels like they are just, okay, she's there because she's a name, but they're probably going to go for the tag titles a little bit more. Even more so, I don't know if you saw SmackDown, it kind of ties in. Bianca and Naomi, they were backstage and they were presented the footage of who beat down Jade, but it was inconclusive. It was just like, oh, here's the scene of the crime, right? And then you just see Liv and Raquel walk away. That's all. So they didn't give away anything too much. Not yet, but Bianca and Naomi are, oh, Sila, you're blaming us. Now we are going to go Raw to confront Liv and Raquel. So you sort of have 3 tag teams with issues, right?
Wait, who's the third tag team then?
Damage Control lah.
Oh yeah, Damage Control.
They're in the mix also.
They are in the mix, but I feel like they are like the workman title because I think their time as like the main selling point has kind of passed from last year.
Well, any feud requires multiple like parties to make it fresh, right? It can't just be 2 teams going up against each other all the time. So you need a third or fourth team to sort of be in there. You got Chelsea and Piper, even though Chelsea is, the US champ.
US champion. The cool thing I like about Liv and Raquel is like Liv has had that main event run. I think she's a made woman right now. She is generally popular, and now she can be slid down into the spot of a tag team, which will in turn bring up Raquel, right? If they would do the titles together.
And hopefully bring up the tag team title scene as well. There is definitely a renewed push for tag team wrestling, if you've noticed, both from the men's side and the women's side. Like, there are actually stories that we can talk about now in terms of those. Remember, those titles used to be like, oh, okay, who has the titles? Okay, like that. Now, legit got story one.
I agree. And I think it's really, really cool. You need the depth, right? I think that's what will make people watch the entire 3 hours. So if every single storyline is interesting, there's no toilet break, right?
Well, okay, talking about the tag titles, I know we're jumping ahead a bit, but War Raiders and American Made. It was a DQ win for American Made. I forget who won, but I know that this is not over between them.
Yeah. Do you see the vignette that the production team put out right before the match? Between American Made and the War Raiders.
Was it the backstage?
No, there was a
promo?
backstage confrontation, yes. But
I remember the backstage confrontation. You're talking about the promotion package, is it?
Yeah. They made a promotion package throughout the night to kind of hype up the match. So actually that made me hype for the match, even though I had no clue going on to Raw. So I think one thing I want to kind of compliment WWE with Netflix is they really are making a concerted effort to kind of reintroduce a lot of these stars and groups or wrestlers for the masses.
They are telling stories. Easy. Yes. See, here's the thing. People always say, oh, easy to understand stories means very shallow. That's not the case. I think the biggest challenge is to take an intricate story and make it easy for people to understand.
Yes.
You know? Yes. And that's what they're doing so well. Okay, the reason I remember the backstage confrontation with American Made, especially with, oh my God, it's Brutus and Julius, right? There's
Yeah.
one thing in wrestling and in entertainment in general, it's very hard to teach. You either have it or you don't. And I saw it in Julius.
Okay. What was it?
Timing.
Oh, okay.
Comedic timing. You go back and if you ever have I don't know why this really stood out to me, but I can't even remember what anybody else said. But the moment he does this thing where he goes, and then he folds out the American flag.
Oh,
It was
he spread eagle it, right?
the timing was so perfect. I was like, this guy gets it. He nailed the timing on that. It couldn't have been even any better.
Yeah, I remember that scene. That scene. It's like, it was like to emphasize, like put a button on the segment,
Correct.
right?
It's like that exclamation point. Like they made that point. Pause, half a second. Boom. I was like, it's like, you know what it is? It's like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, Captain America.
Yeah.
It's like the moment where he spreads his wings for the first time, like that big moment.
Yeah. Or it's like, well, no, it's okay. This is a deep cut, but if you watch, you remember Avengers?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
of
like
course.
the Hulk was like walking beside was
Thor.
it Thor? Then he like,
You're talking about the smashed subway scene.
Yeah,
Then there was
yeah.
like after the big fight, then
they
he
kind of
paused for a
paused
second.
for a bit. Yeah.
Then bam. That scene,
Right. Yeah. Got laughs. So yeah,
So
it was like,
that's perfect timing, and it's so hard to teach that. And I think Julius has it. I love the Creed brothers. I see so much potential in them, and them versus War Raiders. Woo!
Can
I'm
I
there for it,
say,
bro.
when I was playing 2K24, right? Every time I do general manager mode and I need a tag team to be my main tag team champion, I
Sure.
always get Creed brothers, bro.
Oh, let's go.
They are my workman title champions.
Okay. AJ Styles is back. He's on Raw, and it looks like he's going to be working a program with Dom and Carlito and whatever's left of the Judgment Day. So, yeah, proper mid-card feud, yeah?
I don't hate it. I think everyone is happy that AJ is back.
Yeah.
Everyone is definitely happy that AJ brought back his old theme song. I think this is gonna be beneficial for Dominic Mysterio, to be honest.
Yes.
You're working with a legend, bro, right?
Correct. If anything, he's there to put Dom over, and I'm here for it. He did have a little backstage, like face-to-face with Braun, so they might be teasing something there also.
Do you get this feeling like the main event title scene is so stacked that some of the previous main eventers is coming back down to the mid card scene and is padding up the mid card scene?
Yes. There's a difference, right? Like there was a time where you would have, I hate bringing up his name as an example, but Dolph Ziggler. He's former world champion, right? But there was a point where it's it's Dolph Ziggler, he's gonna lose lah. You know, you know what I mean? There was that vibe. Now it seems like it's the other way. It's like these ex-champions going down to elevate the rest of the roster. I think they're doing that with NXT as well. So I think it's great what they're doing.
It's not just on Raw, right? Because on Raw they're teasing like, okay, you're gonna have potentially Braun Breaker having to contend with AJ Styles. Remember that one time Penta was teasing as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty stacked. And then over on SmackDown, like I'm mentioning ahead of time, but like we had people like The Miz padding out the title scene, Nakamura, LA Knight. So it's like everyone is kind of over, bro. The people who are not over are not on the shows.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Which is a great problem to have, I suppose. So, okay, just to wrap up Raw, Logan Paul moving on to the EC, no surprise. Yeah, we called it last week as well.
What do you think of that Logan Paul interaction with CM Punk?
I mean, I hope it doesn't lead to anything. If anything, because I want CM Punk to go on to face Cody Rhodes. Right, so I'm just hoping it's just just jaw jacking lah. So there is definitely potential. It's a money match at some point.
I think so too. I feel Logan Paul is so lucky because right now he is in a field where everyone is gonna be so much more talented than him and is gonna be able to elevate him, right?
Yeah.
Even maybe not on athletics style. Of course, with Rey Mysterio, he had that great match as well. But even with jaw jacking with CM Punk, that's just gonna elevate him to the next trash talk level, bro.
I can't wait for it actually, because Logan Paul's no slouch in terms of the trash talking, and we all know what CM Punk can do. So well, we'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's talk SmackDown then. Jacob Fatu, bro's getting cheered, bro. He's getting massive pops.
Oh man, Jacob Fatu has definitely been given the green light to surpass Solo. And why I say that, it's not because it's a clear edict from WWE that they probably told Fatu and like, Fatu, like, you cannot overshadow Solo for now.
Yeah.
Now you can. We're gonna
Na-
tell the story.
Correct. So back then it was I love you Solo. I shared this on the Discord as well. There is this really cute interaction of Jacob Fatu backstage with the Boogeyman.
Yeah,
And
such a fan, right?
and it makes so much sense now. You know that little wiggle that he does in the ring, Jacob? That's
Yeah.
what Boogeyman used to do.
So you think
Do
it's a
you remember?
homage to him?
Yeah, it is 100% an homage to him. 100%.
Wow.
Like the way Fatu, once again, it's on our Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, feel free to join us. I posted the TikTok link, right? It's literally of him like filming a video with him, and Jacob is like a little kid fanboying over his favorite wrestler. He's like the tippy toes, you know, the tappy tap when you get excited? That's sending me over the edge. I am a Jacob Fatu. I was already a fan of his. Now I'm even more a fan of Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I saw that scene. I think it probably was a couple of years ago. It probably wasn't that big, right?
Yeah.
And that coupled with that one fan footage of him being in the crowd, like being excited for the Usos at last year's Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Bro is really, we are literally seeing him making his dreams a reality right before our eyes.
Yes.
And it's so great to see. And like, I think I know where the bloodline is going right now, right?
Yep.
We talk about it, we teased about it. Solo coming back, and suddenly, the Tama and Fatu having that reaction of like, oh, you left us high and dry.
Yeah.
That is probably the next
Yes.
chapter in the story.
So they are not on the same page, right? Tamatonga and Fatu, and it gets worse by the end of the night, obviously. They're setting up the main event. I wonder if this leads to a feud at EC, or are they going to stretch this to WrestleMania? You know? I guess we could talk about it now, right? Because main event...
I wanted to talk about like Cody's opening segment as well, because leading up to the main event.
Right.
I'm getting this sensing that Cody's heat is going down.
That's why him going up against CM Punk at WrestleMania is the right thing. CM Punk wins, Cody goes Homelander, he has a new 1-year run as Evil Cody, he refreshes himself. It's perfect.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I feel like the Cody's babyface run is kind of on his last legs, and not in a bad way. Not saying that he's stale. I'm saying that he probably has had that arc, and they already teased that KO kind of brought out this like edge to him, like he's willing to do all these dastardly things. He can't go back to that really good earnest babyface anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what's the next step, like? And it's been teased like so often, and the whole him standing over KO holding the titles after he quote unquote decimated KO, right? Like, I'm like, ooh, that seems a bit like it's something like Homelander would do. He would stand there in the wake of his opponent's destruction and demise, right? So I'm like, okay, I see what you all are doing, and I'm buying into it, man.
Yeah, and he did a couple of call-outs, right? He said like, oh, should I fight John Cena? And then there was a crowd cheer. Should I fight CM Punk? There was a crowd cheer. And then he brought out, Andrew McIntyre. And that brought out Drew, right? Yeah. Drew clearly is the odd man out in the main event scene, right? He is lovably bad, like as an evil character, but he's not a strong enough marquee name, right? We all know that. I'm curious to see. Okay, there's two ways I would say, right? Either your theory, which is CM Punk and Cody, CM Punk brings out this evil side. Maybe Cody retains and then he turns full Homelander. Or what if John Cena is the one that turns heel finally on his last year run, right?
You think? Really? I feel like he has too much goodwill to turn heel at this point. Like, why? It would make like he has to resort to it because he can't do it anymore. Is that the story?
Because he can, yeah. And I think the first teasers of it was at the the Royal Rumble press conference, right? Where he said like, I'm in this title picture because it's best for business. It's best for business that I am the main event of WrestleMania. He doesn't talk like that. So what if maybe this is the thing that he said, okay, I will do a 1-year run full time for WWE, but let me do something different for my final run.
Heel.
So if Cody Rhodes versus heel John Cena, or like Cody Rhodes versus like a legacy John Cena who is like, I'm just here to dominate you.
Yeah.
That can cause a lot of interesting layers and storytelling.
So would it cause the same quote unquote negativity as when Rock almost took that spot? You see, I feel like John Cena has too much goodwill. The Rock came in and he was like, I'm the main event, blah, blah, blah. And then the quote-unquote negativity came organically, right? I don't know if they would purposely try to do it again. You know what I mean?
This time last week you were saying how maybe it's Punk and Cody and then Cena can go fight Logan Paul.
Yeah.
That is still on the table. That is still like what if Punk fails and then Logan Paul is the one that causes that marquee match.
Yeah.
But there's also an argument that maybe it could be a triple threat, right?
Yes.
Cena
And you could still tell the story of John Cena not winning because he can lose at the triple threat. CM Punk, I want CM Punk to have his moment. Like, I'm not even that big a huge, you are a bigger CM Punk fan than me, but I want him to have his moment, and I want him to A, have his moment, B, kick off Cody's descent into Homelander, and if John Cena is part of this equation, tell the sob story of John Cena almost winning, but not winning the big one, which is what he wants to do. So there's 3 things you could do in that one match.
Which one would you want to see out of the 3K? I give you, I break it down for you. Would you want to see Cody retain, become Homelander? Would you want to see CM Punk win and then Cody loses the title and descend into Homelander?
Yep.
Or would you want to see John Cena win, whether as like a babyface that kickstarts everyone else's turn, or as a heel?
B.
Okay, so you want to see
because
Punk wins.
I don't believe that Cena should win the title. Not so early in the year, maybe even never. You know what I mean? And just give us that struggle. Give us the story of the struggle, that sense of, we talked about this before, that sense of urgency by the time December rolls around and he still hasn't won that one last title yet.
Agreed.
I would like to, I want to see that urgency, you know?
I just really need us to get past EC because to be honest, right now, it still feels like WWE is spinning their wheels.
Yeah.
They're not trying to pull the trigger on the WrestleMania storyline.
They're doing it slowly. It's fine. They have
as compared to last year, because last year they started off hot. And,
well, here's the thing, like, you can't, rush through everything all at once, right? Because, this WWE product, it's non-stop. So it's not like a TV show where you only have 6 episodes to tell that story, so you kind of get there, right? Even then, there are some shows that drag on, but that's not the point. The thing with WWE is, okay, they have these hard markers, like WrestleMania. We want to create this moment, tell this story. So there will be certain periods, 2 or 3 weeks, where they're like, okay, twiddling our thumbs. You have little side quests here and there that don't mean anything. It's fine. The vibe of the product, the main stories are still fresh that you want to see it.
Yeah, product is still hot, right? I mean, judging by the triple threat match Fatu had with like Strowman and Priest, that was badass.
Okay, so very quickly, Priest wins. Solo kind of cost them, right? He tried to go for the spike on Cody, but Cody ducks and he hits Tama, and then you see Jacob like, what? So you have dissension. It's like, what are you doing? You're not with us anymore. What the hell is going on? So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Jacob and Solo can tell their story, and as I was alluding to earlier, that could be the Bloodline storyline, but Bloodline storyline has descended to not be the main storyline of WWE.
Which is fine. They've dominated, and Roman Reigns is not around. Where does Roman Reigns figure into it? Because you can't have WrestleMania without Roman Reigns, right?
The Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins storyline could feasibly still be a thing, right? Because you see, Seth Rollins has not had any follow-up since that day.
Oh yeah.
Even though Seth has been on Raw, figuring out in the main event scene. I believe Roman Reigns could return at that one at EC
to cost
kind of
Seth
cost somebody the title.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. I think he could do the thing where the door, it always happens, where the door is open because they have to get somebody out, and then suddenly one fella run in and cost somebody the EC, right? So that is something that I think might happen.
I think we might be seeing a triple main event scenario or quadruple main event scene scenario at WrestleMania, where like you have a bunch of big time headlining matches, but any one of them can be interchangeable. There wasn't like a definitive like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. This is the be all and all.
And here's the thing, and it's 41, so it's not quite 40, but it's the first WrestleMania on Netflix. So they are pulling out all the stops. I think all the big matches you can see. That's why I truly believe in John Cena versus Logan Paul. I mean, that is a marquee match, is it not?
Yeah, definitely for casuals, right?
Yeah, like if anything, you're like, what? The movie star versus this social media guy, let's go. And then, at the same time, you watch all the other matches. Even you were talking about like during the Royal Rumble, a lot of casuals, your friends were like, hey, I haven't watched in a while. Now Rumble, WWE on Netflix, wow,
And WWE struck gold with a lot of viral moments. Like they got I
Yes.
Show Speed to be a viral moment, So
Yes.
they need that viral moment, and maybe that could be the direction that they're going.
So, okay, just to come back to Fatu and Tonga, are they ending their feud at EC or is this stretching to WrestleMania? That's the question. No, not Fatu and Tonga. Solo and Fatu.
Uh, what
Solo and
I
Jacob.
want, what I want to see, is Jacob Fatu dispose of Solo, takes on the reign as the next tribal
Oh,
chief.
no.
It's
Okay.
gotta be about
No,
bringing
no,
gold
no.
to the family again. Bro.
It's not tribal. I think the tribal chief thing is overdone already lah, at this point. And they don't even have full-on groups. Okay, hear me out. Tamatonga, even though he took the spike, it was an
Yeah.
accident.
Okay.
I would like to see Tamatonga and this
Jacob.
Tongaloa, our good friend, come back
My guy.
and side with Solo. If Fatu is going to be the face, then he needs to be put at in jeopardy. And the only way you can like feasibly put him in jeopardy that we can believe is have a group beat him down. Unless you want Solo to bring in Zila and all the other Hikaleo, whatever, more
Okay,
Samoans. I
you-
think that's overdone.
You are pivoting, or you are kind of leaning towards Solo becoming the heel and Jacob turning into a babyface.
Yes. Well, isn't that where they're going with it? Like, Fatu is getting massive cheers. I think it would be silly if they don't lean into that.
I think it's too early though, because
Okay.
Jacob Fatu has not had that monster heel run. I mean, he had a monster heel run within the constraints of the bloodline.
Right.
He has not been set free. Right now, we are seeing him being set free. He needs that Umaga monster
Right.
heel run. I rather Jacob Fatu absolutely destroy Solo.
Yeah.
And Solo is like a crisis of confidence that he's going through now, right? And then he like kind of like accepts that maybe he's not as good as Solo, as Jacob Fatu. And then Jacob kind of like takes over.
But
Solo
okay.
can go on this redemption out on his own.
When we talk about monster run, it can be within the alignment of being a fan favorite, right? You know? He doesn't have to be a heel to go on a monster run.
I think he needs to for what he does and offers to the ring though.
So-
if I'm a casual and on Netflix, I see this guy, wow, this guy is a fucking crazy criminal. I don't want to have anything to do
But
with him.
people are cheering him. When he gets on the mic and he drops bars, people are like cheering him and listening to what he's saying. I think it doesn't make sense for them not to lean into his popularity at this point. Like, he is winning people over organically. And you just can't fake that or hide that. It's like Tiffany Stratton, which we'll talk about in a bit. So to me, what happened with Tiffany on this SmackDown shows me that they're finally leaning into her being a face.
Because they have a bigger dick heel in Charlotte,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Like, previously, she was like getting cheered, but she's still acting like a heel, right?
Okay. Who is the bigger dick heel than Jacob Fatu?
Solo Sikoa lah.
As the annoying boo.
Yeah,
Solo
like fucking
boo.
like, you are not Roman, we don't like you, Jacob better than you. So he can play.
Well,
And Solo, okay, Solo needs a team.
Yeah.
He
Solo
can't
cannot
stand
do
by
it
himself,
alone.
right? So it's either going to be Tamatonga and Tongaloa, or he brings in more freaking Samoans.
Bro, if Hikuleo comes in as like their tall enforcer,
But
maybe lah, maybe.
to me, it's like, okay, enough Samoans lah, bro.
Bro,
Enough.
it's like they're coming out of a clown car. Like multiple Samoans are dropping out, Oh, dear
Exactly.
God. Dear God.
Okay, let's pivot and move on to what we talked about earlier. Jax versus Stratton. They had a match, right? I really didn't like this match in terms of not the match itself. The match itself was fine. I think they wrestled it pretty well. It's that Candice LeRae caused the DQ, and Nia Jax was okay with it. It was for the title.
Yeah.
That made zero sense. Like, you literally just cost your friend the title. What are you doing?
And also they didn't follow up much, because after that the
Wow.
post fallout was more on Stratton. Like basically they didn't say anything about Nia Jax and Candice LeRae right after.
But you know why they did this, right? As in, okay, so you're talking about Charlotte Flair coming out and declaring.
Yep.
And like you said, bigger dick heel. Wow, she was full on like.
She's like,
cocky.
I give up on that 1 week babyface experiment.
Yeah, forget it. Like, I had to come back and fight back. No. You love to boo me. I'll give you reasons to boo me. Comes in, I choose you. Walks off. And then Jax and LeRae start beating down on Tiff, right?
Yeah.
And who makes the save?
Trish Stratus.
Trish Stratus. So we get that. And first of all, I thought she retired already, but never mind. We all know wrestling retirements, lah, huh? Trish and Tiffy, and this is what I was saying earlier, the sign to me that, okay, they are finally embracing Tiffy as a full flip face. They're literally putting her next to face
the most
that can,
beloved baby
in
face.
Toronto, a hometown, so that they will get the massive cheers going up against Nia Jax and Candice. My issue with this whole thing was the fact that Candice caused the DQ. Nia Jax was okay with it. It made no sense, but I see why they did it, because it was to set up the tag match. But
So it's
it's
gonna be
a flimsy reason.
It's gonna be like a big blockbuster tag match, I guess, for the women at Toronto.
Yeah,
Is that the plan for EC?
It's Trish lah. She gets her hometown, match, and then Tiff gets the hometown cheers. Confirm they win.
I'm curious though, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Trish is factoring a lot in the WrestleMania season. There's gotta be a reason for it.
No,
Do you
no,
see that Trish, is it just a one-off at Toronto, or she might have a story that goes
No.
all the way to WrestleMania?
One off at Toronto. A, to get the home crowd pop. B, to get the Netflix viewers who remember her from the Attitude Era. And C, to get Tiffy to that next level of, oh, she's the face now.
Basically, she's giving her the cosign, like, okay,
Yeah.
Tiffy is that new girl, like,
Yes,
I sign off on her.
Correct. Yeah, so they've done those three things, accomplished three goals in this
like it.
scene. The only thing I didn't like I mentioned, the logic of booking it like that, where Candice very obviously got DQ'd.
Yeah, I agree. I get what you mean.
Stupid.
Yeah. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I love Nia Jax now, bro. like
She's great for what she does. She's a she's a dick hero.
yeah, you need that one time like gargantuan Godzilla monster to kind of like shake things up, in the division. Doesn't matter men or women, and she plays that role so perfectly, bro.
She's better than Omos or Braun Strowman in that role.
Yeah,
in their respective role, right? Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. She's won me over.
Love it.
She definitely won me over.
Bro,
Can
the
I
new
just
song
say-
as well. I like the song as well.
How does it go?
There's only one man.
Yeah.
History.
But can we just agree that Candice looks very like... Okay, no, I don't want to be
You know
that
what?
guy.
I would rather Indy Hartwell stay and Candice go lah.
I hate that, but yeah, that... anyway.
She's just not she's just bland. That's unfortunate. Yeah.
How can you be bland when you have the purple hair? And anyway, let's talk. It's a X Factor thing. Let's talk about Shinsuke. Like, I forgot that he was even still a US champ, to be fair. And then the commentators play it off like he's been lurking in the shadows. Y'all never use him, then say never use him. I don't know what lurking in the shadows.
I mean, to be fair, they have been kind of like low-key putting him backstage, background of like a lot of like talking heads behind the scenes.
It's a lot of stuff that if you go to the toilet, you will miss.
Yeah. Somebody said something that I couldn't unsee it, bro. Doesn't he look like Cassius from Doctor Strange?
Caecilius,
Caecilius.
Caecilius, because he has the eye makeup that looks like his eyes are rotting off.
Correct.
Yeah.
And somebody was saying like they're trying to figure out a new gimmick for Shinsuke. They want Doctor Strange. That guy.
Caecilius, yeah. I think it's like Darth something, like a dark side. Because his whole presentation, he looks like some sort of Sith Lord. I think that's where they're going with it.
It is a dope look though. I do like how he looks now.
I guess they're trying to keep him mysterious because he can't really cut a promo. And to be honest, when LA Knight came out, when Miz came out, I completely forgot about Shinsuke. They outshone him so completely.
While I thought, that was generally a great promo, do you think it went too long?
It did. And also...
They started rambling or like going away from the title.
Bro, they got 3 hours to kill, bro. let them have their thing. Like, I mean, LA Knight also like... Again with the US title, again with Shinsuke. I know Miz is in the mix now, so at least that's fresh, right? But still, it's like poor LA Knight can't get out of this bracket, it seems.
But I don't think LA Knight got anywhere else to go right now. Like, he can't go up to the main event scene spec right now.
Yeah.
The only way he needs to do is go back to the US title. But the good fallout from that is that it builds up the credibility, the prestige of the US title, right? So...
I hope for his sake, at some point, he goes to Raw and he becomes an IC contender instead.
Yeah.
At least something fresh for him.
Maybe LA Knight is going through the CM Punk run, right? Where he's like, his time is maybe next year.
Right. But his time is next year was the case 1 year ago.
No, but
And
he got over organically, right?
yeah,
He has not had the machine behind him yet.
yeah.
So I don't mind, like he's now on this like recognized level, beloved by the fans, grinding still, trying to get the respect, and then maybe one time win a random Royal Rumble.
Mm.
At
Yeah.
least maybe at 43, 44, he gets that world title run. That
Next
one
year.
time run.
Again, every time we talk about him, oh yeah, next year. Next year is this year. Next year is this year. Forever is next year.
Yeah, was it somebody on our podcast, on our Discord that said like, oh, I wish LA Knight's in-ring work was good because his promos are killing it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the Jey
Eh,
Uso thing as well, I guess.
it is. Oh, but Jey Uso got over massively organically as well. So
Do you think the WWE missed the boat on pulling the trigger on LA Knight when he got hot initially?
yes, yeah, a year ago lah. Remember, and he had the interaction with the Bloodline, so we thought like, oh, finally they're gonna push him into that mix, right? But no, then they pulled him back. We'll see, I guess. One more story to talk about: KO versus Sami Zayn Elimination Chamber. They are doing the shoot video at home style of promos.
With Sammy as well.
I liked it. Like, Sammy's talking about, we fought so many times, but now it's like different. You try to end career, blah, blah, blah.
So it's confirmed to have a match at EC only.
Correct, EC in Canada, where it started for them. So there's the history there also.
So maybe it's really more for the Canadian crowd. Do you think that this last pass towards WrestleMania as well?
I don't know. So that's a good question, right? Because then if it doesn't last till WrestleMania, then what do they do at WrestleMania? It's not like they have no match. Unless you do KO versus Sami Zayn at EC, no steps, just a regular match. And then WrestleMania, you have like hardcore, whatever bullshit match, like some sort of gimmick.
Crazy steel cage match, that steals the show.
Yeah, KO jumps off a sign or something like that.
Or like KO versus Sami Zayn, Hell in a Cell. You know what I mean?
Oh shit, Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
I think so. And because their story is so heated
like
and
years
it's
in the making.
Yeah. It makes sense for them to have that diabolical like end each other's careers match.
I like your booking for this. Like regular match, EC, have that feud, make it so personal that like one of them was like, nope, I'm gonna get you at the end. Let's go WrestleMania.
Yep, there you go. So that's SmackDown. Raw and SmackDown, I mean, like we alluded to earlier, it's a bit of, all right, let's bide some time before Elimination Chamber. That's when we'll finally know, okay, the proper road to WrestleMania, the other champs, who they'll face.
The shift towards the road to WrestleMania is like, now we're at first gear. It's starting already. But I think it was going to go up a way more interesting right after EC, which is like each next week. So yeah.
The next couple of weeks is going to be really exciting wrestling television. I can't wait. All right, talking about exciting television, in just a little while, we will talk about NXT Vengeance Day. But first, we're going chronologically, remember, right?
Okay.
I believe it happened Saturday night, our time, because it's a pre-tape show. AEW Collision. Now, I will say this. It's probably the most positive I've ever been for AEW because I don't watch the product anymore. So I can't really tell you good or bad. What I can tell you is from the Instagram photos that I see, and I saw the results already, right?
Yeah.
Stadium looked packed. Okay, it's not a stadium. The arena looked packed. So the whole thing and the online chatter was people complaining that, what? It's just a collision only? Because I think they never really truly announced that it was going to be a PPV, to be fair to them. They just say, oh yeah, we're going to be in Australia. But I think they were like, huh? And then some more Collision, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I think Collision already has like C brand vibe, B brand, not even B brand.
They lost the CM Punk rub. So it's like
so the idea is like having a
velocity.
pay-per-view. Yeah, exactly. Or WCW Thunder. And you'd be like, huh? But because it was in Australia, I think it's a happening. It's never been done there before. The arena looked packed. It looked great.
To be honest, they could have saved themselves a whole lot of bad PR if they have just made it upfront. It's going to be a TV taping. Like, it's going to be a Dynamite. For the first time ever, a Dynamite overseas in Brisbane,
Yeah, considering the card, considering how good it looked, why didn't they make it a Dynamite? Why make it a show that nobody watches?
I know why, bro.
Why?
I know why. Dynamite needs to be live, right? They can't do it live because it's Australian timing, right?
Oh, so they have to. They don't want tape. Like, actually, why though? Like,
No,
it's too
they
far
can.
away, is it?
So they can, if they go live, it's probably going to be at 3 a.m., 4 p.m. And you have to understand, like the slot, the prime time slots for American is like that time is that time,
No,
right?
no, but like I said, you don't have to do it live. WWE has done TV for Raw in Japan before. It's just tape delay, lor. So
Yeah,
do
yeah.
your show on a Tuesday night or whatever. I guess maybe they
Oh,
don't like the idea of a Tuesday night.
I know why. I know why.
Mm.
They wanted to get the lead in from NBA. I remembered that was one of the reasons. So there was a big
Oh,
NBA. I don't
All-Star
know.
game, All-Star game.
Is it All-Star game right now?
I think
Yeah,
it's
All-Star.
All-Star game. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically they are saying that they needed to pack or star-studded the card for Collision.
Okay.
Then just
No,
be
makes
honest lah at the
Okay, so
beginning, right?
no, there's nothing wrong with that. Then
Yeah.
it becomes a marketing issue. Then don't call it AEW Collision. Call it AEW Grand Slam. Call it AEW Slam in Brisbane or whatever. Come up with
That's a nice name.
whatever lah. Just like Saturday night's main event. Make it a happening. Don't
Bro.
tag your shit brand to it.
I got one, bro.
Uh,
Insane in the Brisbane.
I love it. AEW Insane in Brisbane. Why? See, we are just a bunch of humble podcasters from Singapore and we came up with better marketing for this event. Like, don't you think it's dumb? Like, I think maybe because they think that they need the AEW Collision branding there. So that, next time I have to watch AEW Collision, even though we all know that brand is shit lah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, trying to be positive here is that they did fill out a 10,000 plus arena.
Correct.
And I think the crowd was hot for it. Okay, the ones that end up like, okay, fine, I bought the ticket, right? They did end up like having a great show from what I saw. And the booking for some of the shows, the matches was okay. Like there wasn't any weird random booking.
It looked like booking to pop the hometown crowd.
Which is great.
Which is fine. Like, okay, we can talk about the main event, Toni Storm versus Mariah May. The only gripe I have about that is they squandered Mariah May's title reign. They had so much potential. I've said this before, I'll say it again, right? It felt like in between when she finally won the title till now losing the title, they didn't elevate her anymore. In fact, she slid down.
They did on arrival her title reign. That's an issue that is not exclusive to right now.
No.
Right now, like to me, Toni Storm winning the title from Mariah May was actually a blessing for her. Like it was a mercy for her, right?
It must kill. Yeah,
it was like a mercy kill because Toni Storm remained such an interesting character. Like, okay, to me, when she came back as Toni Storm, the normal girl, like, okay, weird.
The amnesia thing.
Yeah, but when I saw the promo that she gave, like talking about how, like, she didn't say like, this was all me an act, me trying to perform. No, she actually told a very coherent story of what she did when she went away. She said she lost her confidence. She went to Australia, spent time with her family. The family said that I'm too embarrassed to look at you. So she went on an excursion in Japan. Reunited with Mina Shirakawa, had some fun.
Of course.
And like got a bit, basically got herself purposely beaten up and hazed in Japan to feel what it feels like to be a struggling artist again. I think that was a great angle that she was trying to play.
Yeah.
And then I think that's when she said like, where she went back home and then she, in her mansion, and she pulled out all her old things. She wanted to throw them away. And that's when she found her old gear. And that was like, you know what? I need to refine that girl who was so earnest and passionate, wanting to do well in the business. Maybe the biggest performance of the lifetime that I can do is to find myself again. And that was the story that we was trying to tell.
So what you're saying is Toni Storm is piggybacking the entire company lah, like on her back. But who else is shining right now in AEW?
Toni Storm still remains the best character wrestler in AEW. It's not even close, right?
Bro, John Moxley, bro. Death Riders.
But the Death Riders apparently did win against Cope and Jay White. There you go. Yeah.
Well, can't say anything if I didn't watch it. Okay. Anything else you want to add to this? No.
Nope, nothing much. All
right, cool.
I haven't watched it in full, so I'm gonna try to watch it in full. So this is actually the first show that it has intrigued me from AEW that I want to watch in full. So
actually, you know what? You saying that, I agree with you 100%. After looking at the social media stuff, I'm like, okay, I'll actually give this a shot. So maybe this is the thing that, and to their credit, right? They timed it perfectly. Then you're talking about it after the NBA All-Star game. Hopefully the lead. What was the first match? I think the first match is going to say a lot. if they put a banger as the first match, that's how you retain your audience, right?
Clearly they put a banger. It was
Ospreay.
Osprey and Kenny Omega, a
Oh,
blockbuster tag team against Takeshita and Carl Fletcher.
their standard
will-
of a banger is
They will introduce the NBA fans to the AEW style of wrestling.
style, and then whether you like it or not, you can tahan that stuff or not, then well, it's a different story altogether. I get it. Okay, cool. Hopefully they do better, and then at least we got more stuff to talk about in terms of AEW, huh?
For sure. Let's talk about the thing that you are excited to talk about, which is NXT.
Well, see, that's the thing. And like I mentioned earlier, NXT is one of those things that I watch here and there, right? After watching NXT Vengeance Day, I was like, oh shit, I need to pay attention more to this product. You know?
Okay.
So we kick off with Fallon Henley versus Stephanie Verker. Okay, here's the thing about NXT too, because a lot of these wrestlers are up and comers. So a lot of these names are like, who, what? And I think a lot of people feel that as well watching it, right? But watching the work, I think, is what's gonna get you hooked. Because
I don't think there's any issue with their work rate and style. Like even at NXT level, everyone can work.
Correct.
You know what I mean? The ones who cannot work yet are still a bit clunky, maybe more performance center or like one off match at NXT, right?
Evolve or LFG. Are you excited to watch the LFG show, by the way? Have you seen the promos for it?
I am. It's like Tough Enough, but with actual like it's more like contender issues.
It's a more reality based TV show.
Ultimate Fighter vibes.
Yeah. But okay, back to NXT. So Fallon Henley versus Stephanie Verker for the NXT Women's North American title. The crowd was solidly behind Stephanie Verker.
Yeah, Verker is over, bro, and she's probably hasn't spoke more than like 3 sentences of English, but she's so over right now.
What do the kids call it? Vibe. She has it. You see her already. She looks cool. Aura. Thank you, Aura. She beat like Fallon Henley, and I have to say, Fallon Henley, Fatal Influence, they've become like this Judgment Day style group where it's like they will always gang up and cheat, but they still lose. Like a bit like, okay lah,
We already had that hot, trio, which was it Fatal Attraction?
Toxic Attraction.
Toxic Attraction, yeah. So to me, this Fatal Influence is just another version, like it's like a B version, side version.
Exactly right. It feels like you're trying this stuff again, right?
And you know what was the threat, right? Is JC Jane, right?
JC Jane, yes.
Has both of them, yeah.
So Stephanie Verker now with the North American title, I think is very great for the division.
I agree. And the thing is, right, some people even say that she actually is above, the title is beneath her. She should be contending for the world title, but I think that elevates the North American.
Again, back to the point you made earlier, talking about a lot of these guys and gals who could be main eventers, but they are sort of slowly carrying that mid-card into upper mid-card status, right?
Agreed.
NXT Tag Team Championships, Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. Okay, so do you know much about Yoshiki Inamura, my friend?
I watched NXT this past week.
Okay.
On Netflix.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I saw this Inamura guy.
Did he impress you?
He reminds me of what?
Who?
He's a Japanese Keith Lee.
I think in the best of ways, because he looks like he can go. Okay.
No, he went.
He went. Yes,
That's the thing. He went. He is what I thought strong style would have been.
Yes. It's like, okay, I've obviously never watched Ishii in his prime. But this is what I picture Ishii used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when all this talk of strong style, and then you see Ishii or what's the other fella? Those fellas they always bring to AEW
or the
what's the one?
Oh shit! I think Najo will laugh at us right now.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about? Like these guys who are over their prime, who are always
Shibata.
Not Shibata.
I know it's the one that John Moxley always fight with.
Yeah.
Kojima.
Kojima. Anyhow throwing out Japanese names. Are you gonna say Toshiba next? Sony. Walao, stop it lah, bro.
I know.
But yeah, like. To me, this is like, when he goes, right?
But where was he from? Where did he come from?
Okay, let me tell you. So first of all, I like that we have a long title reign for Fraxium. Because
yeah.
the other thing is they don't really have too many tag teams. So yes, establish the long reigning tag team first, right? And I really like them in the ring. They're very smooth together.
Yeah.
They have the tag team thing down. Very easy to like. Now, Josh Briggs. Do you remember Josh Briggs?
Didn't he have another partner?
Yes, he had a tag team partner who I forgot what his name is already. They
It's
fell out
also
lah.
Briggs lah. It's
Yeah.
Briggs yeah.
They were this like lumberjack style rough and tough guys, right?
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
wasn't Fallon Henley part of their group also? Then she turned heel lah.
I do not know enough
Yeah.
to remember.
Well,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
glad they moved away from it. So the story is Josh Briggs, he took a break. He went to Noah in Japan to compete. And then he came back with his new Japanese boyfriend. Best
Oh,
friend.
wait. Wow.
No, because it's so like when you watch their promos, right? It's like he went there, then he came back with this Japanese guy, and then he gives him his jacket. So now they both wearing matching jackets. So I'm like, oh, okay. You went to Japan, came back with a new boyfriend.
Kind of a cute story. Actually,
I think it's quite cute. Yeah.
I think it's cool. Like you went to Japan to go excursion, reinvent yourself,
Yep.
find a new friend, and then bring it back to NXT. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so that's essentially the story. Like they impressed each other, right? And so now he is like showing him American wrestling, blah blah blah. And
Yep.
you've seen his finisher, right? This Inamura.
I can't recall
Okay.
off the top of my head. What did he do?
So he climbs to the top rope and he quote unquote tests the integrity of the top rope. So it's this action that builds the anticipation, kind of like how when Shawn Michaels used to tune up the band, he would stomp, right? So imagine this guy. Oh my god, I'm going to do it. He
Okay.
climbs to the top rope, right? He's there,
Okay.
and then he starts bouncing up and down on the top rope, and you
Okay.
see the top turnbuckle like freaking bends, like it's trying to support his weight. I swear this thing is going to break.
Because
But
he's a
he
heavy guy, right?
He's a big guy, yeah. He looks like a smaller version of Bronson Reed. Like he's not as big as Bronson Reed, but he's got that stocky build, right?
Yeah, stocky build.
So he's bouncing up and down, and then he does a huge splash. And it's not just a splash. It looks more like a belly flop. So he arches back as he jumps off,
Oh wow.
and it looks incredible. It's like a belly flop splash.
Bro, it's like he slingshot himself into the air.
Yeah, and
to the rope.
it looks very anime. It looks like
It's
what
like
an
he flopped
anime
into the
version.
water lah. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you watch an anime about wrestling,
Yeah.
that's how they would like ching bang.
No, the one to probably make it even go 100% even to the next level if he starts shouting like "Combate!"
Yeah, he yelled something, right? So I'm a fan. Like I didn't know too much about them as a group. I thought they looked kind of weird as a group, but watching them together, I'm like, okay, there's no fake ass looking bullshit. They had me for one moment, right? Frazier tried to do the "I chop you, you chop me" thing.
Oh, the thing that you hate the most. Okay.
Yeah, he chopped this fella. The fella like, fuck, Then he chopped Frazier. Frazier dropped down like, oh fuck. Then this Inamura is like, come, you chop me one more time. And Frazier stand there, kicked him in the head. Did it Inzaguri instead. So I'm like, okay, at least they didn't do the chop back and forth because that would have made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. I nothing much to say. I watched it quite quickly, but
Yeah.
I liking what I see from both of them.
FRGN won. So again, long title reign. I think it bodes well for them. So, strap match: Trick Williams versus Eddie Thorpe. So remember, I said this of a lot of the Japanese wrestlers. Being Japanese is not a gimmick,
Okay.
right? And like I like this Eddie Thorpe so much better now that he's this bitter guy. Like now there's an actual story to follow as opposed to, do you remember when they first introduced him? He was the Native American guy who inspired Wahoo McDaniel. Who was inspired by Wahoo McDaniel.
No, I didn't even know about his story.
Right. So he has Native American roots, right? And then he became the EDM DJ guy. I don't know if you saw that.
No, definitely didn't see this.
Oh, that one was cringe AF, bro.
Was
Then-
this a Vince gimmick, bro?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
Bruce Pritchard gimmick, okay.
I guess maybe they were just trying to find different things. That's the whole point of
yeah.
NXT, to find yourself, right?
Yep.
And then
agreed.
he became bitter. He became this guy who was like, why am I not getting my opportunities? Why does Trick get so many opportunities? There was I don't know if you saw that one where it looked as if, because he didn't actually hit Ava, but like someone smashed into him or something like that.
Okay.
And then he had interaction with Shawn Michaels, so I guess Shawn Michaels gave him the rub as well.
Okay, definitely didn't because I know
Yeah.
his name very forgettable. That's the thing I
Yeah.
remember.
He shoved Shawn Michaels. So that was a big deal.
Oh, okay,
Right? Right?
It's coming back to me. Okay.
So they're trying to make you hate him and remember him as that guy, like this bitter employee guy.
Okay.
And what was surprising is he got the win over Trick without. I mean, it's a strap match, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Are they trying to use Trick to give him the rub?
Yes, that's what it is, and maybe Trick is going up to the main roster soon. So he's like, okay, lah, let's put this new guy over.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It was fun.
Trick has done all his can in the title scene anyway. So
Yeah,
makes sense.
it was a good strap match, so I enjoyed it. Ethan Page versus Javon Evans. Again, really good storytelling. Really
Blood
good
feud,
storytelling.
Blood feud.
Because before this, Javon was this like young, bland, happy to be there, sort of a woo, I'm bouncy.
He's the one that
guy.
had the match with Randy, right? And he fucked up the finish.
Correct. Well, I mean, it was a very like 0% margin of error spot
it was
anyway.
Hard. It was hard. Yeah.
So Ethan Page broke his jaw. That's the whole
Yep.
story.
I
Like,
remember
they had-
this.
Yeah, the head in the steel chair, sort of a thing, right? And stomp. So last week, I don't know if you saw, they did this thing where he was cleared by the doctors, but the doctors, I still recommend you don't fight. Like if you take one solid blow to the jaw, your jaw could shatter again. So that's his whole story, and they played it out well. Like he comes out, his music is all bouncy, but he's not bouncing. Like I hate it when
Serious,
it's
yeah.
a blood feud, right? And then they still come out, Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, we all remember
dance. Yeah, like hey,
Still
your
got time.
brother getting destroyed. Got to dance first, bro. You can't stop me, bro.
Can't stop the groove, bro. Okay.
So no,
yeah,
he comes out to his music. He's like pissed. He's like, I'm gonna f this guy up, right? And Ethan Page, in a way, has become the Randy Orton of NXT. Do you feel?
Ooh, that is such a great compliment. Why do you say that?
Like, okay, this is like the era of Randy where he's punt kicking everybody, like where he's doing such dastardly things, he broke, quote unquote, broke Dante Chen's ankle. Remember?
I remember this. Yep.
So yeah, now he's that guy and he's doing these dastardly things, right?
Okay.
So,
okay.
Ethan Page won after Javon Evans did a springboard move, and then he basically punched him in the jaw, which is
Oh,
the
to
story.
end the match. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they set it up perfectly where Javon is wearing a mouth guard to protect in case. So as he does the springboard and then Ethan Page punches him in the jaw, the mouth guard, he spits out. So it looks like he just punched the mouth guard right out of his mouth. It was a really nice spot.
Smart, love it. I'm
Like
a fan.
you know, like the visual storytelling there was great,
Yeah.
right? It reminds me of Dolph Ziggler. He purposely chews gum. I always
So he
bring this
can-
up. Yeah. So he can, like, if somebody gives him a super kick, he can spit it out. It looks like a tooth fell out. One of
Little
the
things
tricks.
like this, bro. Little
Yeah.
things like this is what I think wrestling fans, especially when we have been watching for such a long time, we don't really watch. Okay, if the story sucks you in, that's great.
Yep.
But if you watch a match purely for the match and you see the little things that they do that make sense, even better.
You know who else used to do this?
Don't tell me, Mr. Perfect,
No. Well, yes, Mr. Perfect, but also Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
So it makes sense that Shawn Michaels is teaching them this thing, like, okay, put gum or put something in your mouth that you can spit out when someone kicks you in the face to sell the imagery.
Yeah, or put like small straps so they look like those like teeth. Tic tac toe.
I think tic tac lah. Where got
Tic tac.
And then you put the wrong color. You put a orange color one. Hey, this fella teeth orange. What the fuck? Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, that's smart. Put a white
Yeah.
tic tac.
So the feud continues. So I wonder if that means it resolves at Stand and Deliver. Because don't forget, Stand and Deliver is coming up before WrestleMania.
Yep. I mean, that's their WrestleMania for NXT, so that's gonna be fun.
Like, and maybe this time it can be some sort of funny, like, specialty match lah.
I like it. Yeah.
Ladder match, whatever. And maybe, do you think Ethan Page is ready to move up to the main roster? There's argument, like I've seen people say that he is, but I will argue on that if he moves up, he becomes lower mid card on the main roster.
He needs more shine in NXT.
Mm.
You know what I want to see?
What?
Ethan Page, Ricky Starks.
Oh, so funny you should bring that up because that's a big talking point, right? He shows
Yeah.
up on NXT unannounced, but I don't know if you noticed this. He hasn't actually said his name.
Yep. He hasn't.
So from what I've read, it's because he literally just signed. They rushed it,
They haven't had anything planned for him.
Yeah, they haven't decided if he's going to be Ricky Starks, if he's going to be Kareem Abdul, or whatever name, you don't know his name. So he played it well. They were chanting, Ricky, you know me. But he never actually said his name.
And is Ricky Starks his like
Real name.
what's
His
the
real name.
copyrighted name? Oh, okay.
No, his real name.
Real
And
name.
he but he's still calling himself Absolute. So his catchphrases are there, but he hasn't actually said his name.
Honestly, I hope he keeps his song.
Yeah.
His songs actually is a really banger of a song.
Oh yeah. But is it
No, I
is
don't
it
know.
licensed music or what?
Probably no. It's AEW music.
Oh, then cannot already lah.
Yeah,
If it's
unfortunately,
AEW.
Unfortunately.
In the promo he did on Vengeance Day, he also didn't say his name. So there's still a chance that he might be some, Steve
Let's hope not.
Main
Let's
or
hope.
what?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Steve? Hey, it's Steve. Absolute
No.
Steve.
That one, the other guy, what's his name? The one
Absolute.
the one kena super kick by Shawn Michaels. That's Steve.
Steve. Sean. Not Sean.
Sean
Spears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, are we talking about the last match already then?
Yes,
the main event.
We are. Yes, the main event for the NXT Championship: Obafemi versus Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory. How do you make Obafemi someone who's so physically dominant? Nobody else on the roster stands up to him, to be honest. After Trick has failed, right?
Yeah.
You put two main roster guys against him who are a team. I mean, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
It does. Like he graduated. He basically is the master ruler of all of NXT. The next one is all the lower mid card and mid carders of the main roster lah. That makes sense.
And then some more, it's a team, right? So they team up on him, no? So that's how you put him in jeopardy, which was great. I thought that was, and this is a great use of Waller in Theory because for whatever reason they are just hovering at that mid card level in the main roster. They just they don't have that breakthrough moment yet.
I honestly they have to beat their time because they are young.
Yeah.
There's other people who are way over than them, but they are still. I think going down to NXT could actually be the best thing for Austin Theory because Theory has never won an NXT championship.
Waller as well, and that was part of the story in this match as well. Like Waller not getting his flowers in NXT. Everyone's always talking about Braun, always talking about all the other guys.
Hayes,
but not Waller. So I like that. They finished off with sort of a thing where it was a bit weird lah. It's like Waller tried to do, I hate his finisher, by the way. You know what Grayson Waller's finisher is?
It was like a flying knee or something like that, right?
No, it's
from the top rope.
No, it's from the outside. He jumps through the middle road.
Yes.
Does a roll stunner. So it's the most convoluted, like heavy setup move ever. And I hate it. But
even Logan Paul's new finisher actually looked better.
It looked better, right? Yeah. But he did it and he accidentally hit Austin Theory with it. And then Oba grabbed him and, did his pop-up powerbomb thing and finished it off lah.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the big story here is, do you know what happens after the match?
I know of the other surprise. I don't remember what.
Okay, Oba gets destroyed by a new group.
Oh, okay. I saw.
Okay,
this.
so
you know what's my first thoughts, right? It's gonna be
what? Retribution, Shield combo. Yeah. So it's 4 guys wearing the bandana over their mouth. The bandana got the skull, so it looks like it looks so cool, right? Isn't that what Shield used to wear until Vince didn't like it or something like that?
No, yeah.
There was a story, right? Like Vince didn't like that.
He covered their face. Yeah.
So Vince got rid of the banana thing while these guys are doing it. Okay, and they're doing it in a big way because they're going straight for the champ. And did you see their finish? Oh my god! So
no.
It's like, how the Shield had the triple powerbomb? I guess this is a quadruple pop-up powerbomb. So 2 guys grab Oba, who is a huge guy. Don't forget, Oba Femi is huge. They both grab him up in the powerbomb position, throw him towards the other 2. The other 2 catch him and powerbomb.
Wow, that's wild.
I'm like, what? Okay.
Okay, so they are pushing them out strong from the get-go lah. Essentially, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
as a retribution/Shield type.
I hope for God, like at least one of them can speak well. If not, it's just dead on arrival.
Yeah. I mean, we all remember Retribution. So is this going to be Retribution or is this going to be Shield? We shall have to wait and see because those 2 groups took very different paths.
We shall see.
We shall see. Okay, there was one more segment that was kind of cute. Ariana Grace. Do you know who she is?
Of course, the daughter of Santino Morella.
the TNA liaison. So apparently
Ooh.
she's the TNA liaison, and then she brought in a special guest to have a meeting with Ava, and it was Santino Morella.
The daddy is
Yeah,
there.
so which was cute, surprise moment. So even
love it.
like we got that right. Then okay, NXT Women's Championship: Julia, Roxanne Perez, Bailey, Cora Jade. I still have reservations about Julia. I enjoyed the match, but I think a lot of it was because of Bailey, Roxanne, Cora.
I'm sure Bailey did a great job. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Cora, though.
Wait, comparing Julia to Stephanie Verker, why do you think Stephanie Verker works with her aura, and why do you think Julia you still have reservations?
I don't know. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. Julia has aura, but I think that I think Stephanie is a better in-ring worker
Interesting.
because maybe she does more of an international style and more used to international style. It's a
maybe.
style thing, right? Like we talked
Yeah.
about this before. Like, what is it about the Japanese Joshi wrestling style that somehow doesn't translate sometimes?
I don't know. It's like that guy like you say, like he really brings strong style. Like that's what strong supposed to be. Maybe the way they wrestle is not the spirit of how Japanese Joshi wrestling should be. I don't know. Or maybe it doesn't translate well.
Or maybe that's why she's in NXT. They have to work on it, right? To try to quote unquote make her more international.
Because Asuka can do the same thing, but she does it so much better. Like stiffer
Yes,
and
yes. Very quickly, can we give some shine and Cora Jade?
Bro. Okay.
Is this? She's my favorite now. Is she not? Is this outfit not Paige inspired?
Interesting.
Like, doesn't that look like Paige's
something
old
she
top?
could wear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, if I was CM Punk and then this girl was into me, I was like, damn.
Stop, bro. He's happily married man. Stop it, bro. And they are damn far away in terms of age, lah, bro. Cannot, lah. Okay, I think we'll just leave it on this screen.
Let's just switch off our camera.
Our faces, nobody wants to see our faces.
Okay, we gotta wrap it up. Come, let's
Okay,
focus on the match.
It was a great match. Julia retained, not surprisingly. Stephanie Verker came out to congratulate Julia. So they're still doing the whole they are friends thing, right?
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. But then the sirens go off and Jordan Grace shows up.
Is the big Papa Pump? No, different one.
The buff Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, I saw that comment. I was like, guys, come on, I cannot unsee it now.
I can't see it. I love Sabrina Carpenter. I think she's the pop princess of 2024, 2025. Now I can't unsee it. Jordan Grace is the buff Sabrina Carpenter.
That's hilarious, bro.
Yeah, it's because of the hair and the blonde hair. Anyway.
Even better than Tiffany Stratton, to be honest. Like, she looks literally like Sabrina Carpenter.
But looking at the three of them in the ring or like staring against each other, I was like, oh shit. When they talk about NXT's women's division being the best, there's a legitimate claim right there. Look at the three of those.
The way they are collecting all these female wrestlers in NXT, right? It's like how Triple H collected all the indie wrestlers in 2017.
Yeah.
Suddenly you got Alistair Black, suddenly you got freaking Velvet Dream, and then it was a roster.
Yeah, and then you slowly get them acclimatized to the WWE working style, and then you filter them into the main event. Bro, I'm actually really excited for their women's division, and they are putting a lot of effort into the women's division. You see more women's matches on NXT than on any other show.
I don't hate it, and and the running joke about Shawn Michaels really knowing how to pick the female talent.
Stop lah.
It really is a sexy boy, you know what I mean? So good.
Boy.
He's doing great. He's doing great work So
NXT was a lot of fun. NXT, I highly recommend. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Enjoy it. All right, there you go. There's your recap, man. We got Raw, we got SmackDown, we got AEW, we got NXT Vengeance Day. Next week, we're gonna jump into EC. Next week is the preview for Elimination Chamber already. We're there.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely also gonna review Grapplemax as well. And don't forget, the week after we have SPW as well. So man, it's going.
It's going down.
Going down. It's like it's non-stop, bro. And we can't wait to review all of it and talk about it as well.
Absolutely. In the meantime, talking about Grapplemax, it's this upcoming Sunday. Yes, Sunday lah. Saturday. Sunday you go there, Bolang.
Bro, don't.
Is this upcoming Saturday talking about Causeway Jam, and he went off to Scotland to learn a new hole, as they say, right? Go away to learn a new hole. and he's back, and he's gonna be one of the matches. And this is the first time we've had him on the show, like proper, right?
Yes, correct. So our first ever interview for season 8, and it's a new first time interviewee.
And as promised, joining us on the show here today is Kelvin. What's up, man? Hey, thanks for joining us on the show here on a Sunday morning, first of all. Sunday afternoon lah.
Afternoon, third of the day gone already.
That is true, that is true. Well, for some people, they might have just woken up, so.
Or if you're listening to this podcast on a lunchtime on the workday, you're probably just going out for work and you want to listen to Kelvin share about his Scottish adventures. Yeah, bro?
Absolutely. Of course, Kelvin, from Grapplemax, you had a little bit of an excursion to, is it Glasgow, Scotland, or is it different parts of Scotland?
Glasgow, Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, first of all, explain to us, how did this trip even start to begin with?
Okay, so the genesis of this idea, I need to take you all the way back into like October 2023.
Oh, okay.
So, as you guys know, I'm a NTU student.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's not a gimmick. That one's I'm an actual student.
The buffest NTU student I've seen in a long time, bro.
Thank you. So, I received an email advertising a sharing session with the Glasgow University about their exchange program for Singaporean students. So, I mean, I was already naturally intrigued on going on exchange, so I just went for the hearing session. Then it just talked about, the student life in like Glasgow University and Glasgow itself and whatnot. But the thing is, when I heard the word Glasgow, the first thing that immediately came to my mind was, hey, Drew McIntyre from Glasgow, right? Then what I did was like, I did a bit of like Googling, and that's how I I learned more about, ICW, Insane Championship Wrestling, which was where Drew kind of like went to when he was initially released after around 2014. So I just did a bit of research on ICW, and specifically I researched if they had a training school, because in October 2023 I was still only like 3 months into my pro wrestling journey.
Right.
So as much as going on exchange would have been fun, I also didn't want to like sacrifice my development as a pro wrestler. So it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. And that's how I also came across GPWA, Glasgow Pro Wrestling Asylum, which is their training school in ICW. And I was like, okay, it's cool. If I could actually like pull this off, it would be quite nice, because the exchange application process isn't so straightforward. So I kind of just like kept it in the back of my mind. And then slowly, as the year progressed in 2024, it became more likely that I could go on exchange in Glasgow. It's a different university, but still in Glasgow. So I did did more research to just check that they still existed, and like they had like a program for like international wrestlers to come in and train with them. So once I got the confirmation that I got my confirmation on my exchange program in Glasgow, that's when I kind of just like kept tabs on them leading up to September of last year, which would have been when I flew to Glasgow.
So question, which were you looking forward to more, the wrestling or the actual school exchange program? Be honest now.
Yes. Okay. To be honest, like,
should we leave it as that?
Yeah. Most university students, like, going on exchange is kind of like the dream, but like I said, I didn't want to sacrifice like 4 months of my pro wrestling development, because I was still quite new, and it's like a crucial period where I do need to like keep training regularly, to like take it to the next level. So let's just say it's everything was quite serendipitous, shall we say?
Yes.
And another interesting thing is, I want to kind of understand the thought process, or like the reactions that you got from like not just your classmates, I'm pretty sure, probably your lecturers, and especially the Grapplemax fam as well. Like, what was their reaction when you told them the news?
So I always wanted to keep it like conservative, because like I never take anything as granted or as a given, because there were so many different factors to like consider, like whether I would even be allowed to train with them, or second of all, whether there would be an opportunity to perform. So I always just kept it in my mind to like, take it step by step. Don't, as much as it's fun to fantasize about, the possibilities, I just like, stay calm, stay humble, and just like take it one step at a time. Just focus on training, and then just focus on really just take it one step at a time. Yeah.
I really love, by the way, how like humble and like proper schoolboy this Kelvin is right now with us, right? But in the ring last time when he was hanging around with Showtime, all like he's like pointing at the ass, like, hey, look at me, like it's a very different side of you, my friend.
Well, I think that's the beauty of pro wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's sort of like an escape for you guys. Like for others, like obviously in real life you can't be like a beer drinking, like ass kicking, like SOB lah. But pro wrestling
Well,
provides that.
You can if you want.
You
I mean,
shouldn't.
yeah,
You shouldn't.
you might go to jail, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I mean like pro wrestling is that like creative like medium for you guys to like express yourself in a more exaggerated manner. So yeah, I think that's why you see a much different side of Kelvin, because a lot of my friends do tell me that, especially with like my spectacles, right? I look very nerdish. I look like a geek, right? Which I do. I don't deny that. But once like the specs come off, the shirt comes off, yeah, I totally like transform into like a whole different person.
I love it, bro. It's like Peter Parker turning to Spider-Man. I also wanted to kind of stay on that Glasgow kind of adventure that you guys had, right? Like, so
Yeah.
walk us through like that first day. Like, you're in Glasgow. You're going for classes, and then tell me that first impression when you walk into the asylum, and like, yeah, how was the reception there for you as well?
Ooh. Okay, so I remember I flew into Glasgow specifically on September 18th. And so I landed in Glasgow airport at around like 1 p.m. Then, like an absolute genius, I booked my first training session on the same day.
Oh, of course.
Yes, and not very advisable, but yeah. So
Bro, the concept of jet lag didn't exist to you, is it? You didn't know, is
no,
it?
it didn't. My idea was like I would get rid of the jet lag by sleeping on the plane, which I did, but still not advisable.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways,
Plain
so
sleep isn't real sleep.
It's really not.
Yeah.
So from the airport, I went to my university dorm, settled all the admin stuff, settled on my barang. Then the very the other very serendipitous thing was that my university that I did my exchange at, which is Strathclyde University, is literally a 10-minute walk away from the training facility.
Oh,
the asylum.
nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Awesome.
It was like damn convenient. So just dropped my barang, like did a bit of a shower, and then I just grabbed my training gear and then walked 10 minutes towards the asylum. So the first time I stepped into the asylum, I was honestly quite nervous. Like, it's not just a pro wrestling thing, but it's honestly just a life thing. Whenever you go into a new place, a new environment, you're always a bit cautious and a bit anxious whether you would fit in, whether they'll be receptive towards you.
Of course, yeah.
But within the first day, like they kind of like took me in and treated me like one of them. Like there was no like treating me like an outsider. From the very first day, they treated me like one of them, and it's they showed me a level of warmth and hospitality that I always be very grateful for. Yeah. So during the first training session, so peeling back the curtain, in training sessions for wrestling, you always do like the rolls first. So it's part of like the syllabus. And we're just doing the rolls, simple stuff. And then they started doing head springs.
Oh.
So for those who don't know, head springs are like when you do a headstand, right?
Yeah.
Into a kip up.
Yep.
So yeah, they already started doing like very advanced level like gymnastics and rolls. I was like, holy. Yeah. So
and that's like a fundamental class. That's something that all of them can do, is it?
Not say all, but like it's something that is part of like their syllabus. But yeah, a good number of them could do. I was just like, holy, okay. So yeah, and obviously like I couldn't. It's not my thing. Yeah, doing keep up. So like they kind of like walk me through like the process. Jump forward a bit. It took me like 3 months to get it, but yeah, it's stuff like that. In their when I got exposed to like their training style, their training syllabus, where it really showed like there are levels to this. Like the standard there is truly like a step above, a level above. The word I would definitely use to describe it is world class. Yeah, just the standard of wrestling. Frankly, everything in terms of like resources, production, just how seriously they treat it is really a step above.
So just to go back a little bit, right? So when you're talking to them and you're signing up, I'm telling them, oh, I want to come down and train, that kind of stuff, right? Do they sort of look at you and go, okay, do they ask like, okay, where is your level at? Do they ask you to give an accurate or honest self-assessment, or do they test you first to see, okay, does this guy really live up to what he said? You know, how does that whole process work?
So what my initial point of contact with them was in August of last year. So I just shot them a DM and then an email. Then I just introduced myself, like who I am. I'm a pro wrestler from Singapore. I'm going to Glasgow for a semester exchange. I would like to continue my training with them. And I gave them like my Instagram handle. Then they were like, yeah, cool. This is how much is the monthly fee.
Oh, okay.
And they did ask me if I had match experience. Then I just told them I've had a couple of matches. Yeah.
Yep.
So they're very conscious that I don't want to like oversell myself.
Right.
Just give an accurate, like you say, an honest and accurate representation of my current skill level.
Yep.
And then I just went for like the first training session, and then we just took it from there.
So, like when you went there, did you have the goal or idea in your mind that you would actually want to participate in a match or be in a match?
So the system in the asylum GPWA is that they have student showcase shows called £5 wrestling. It's in the name. Each ticket is £5 only. They hold one about once every 3 months.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah. They already had a very dedicated system and space for students to perform.
So it's very similar to like the NWE style of what Grapplemax is doing, right?
Similar.
Yeah. Right.
So that was kind of like the show that I like had my eye on.
Oh, cool.
So, but I again take it one step at a time. Just go for a first training session, allow them to have a sense of me, and let me have a sense of them before we talk about anything beyond that.
Yes.
What does ICW like pride themselves on being like? I mean, I'm sure certain promotions have specific style. If you could kind of describe like Scottish wrestling and specifically ICW, GPWA, what's the takeaway that you get?
I'm glad you didn't say use give in one word, because I can use multiple words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
As the name suggests, Insane Championship Wrestling. Insane. They specialize in hardcore death matches.
Whoa.
So,
okay.
Yes. So yeah, you'll see like a lot of like insane weapons like jumper cables, diaphragms. Then there's the usual like thumbtack, steel chair, candlestick.
Right.
the whole shebang. But
wow.
yes, yeah. You guys can go see for yourself on YouTube and social media. They like to draw a wee bit of blood sometimes.
Ooh. Just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit.
Just a wee
Just
bit.
a wee bit. Yeah. So, but honestly, hardcore matches aside, the level of wrestling there, like I said, is truly next level, truly world class. Like, not just in terms of like the technical aspect, but in terms of like character work, psychology. It's really next level.
So, and you even also mentioned, right, like a lot of the students get opportunities to put on the shows or matches in the £5 wrestling, right? How would you say is the level of the student, and then in terms of transitioning from that to being part of the ICW roster? Can you tell the differences even in that levels as well?
So from my understanding, their intake system is in terms of like they have an intake system. So it's not necessarily, if you're a beginner, you can't really like join as and when you please.
Right. So
there's a specific dedicated intake period for you guys to go through the various beginning stages of the pro wrestling syllabus. Then from my understanding, there's 3 blocks, and each block is about 8 weeks. If I'm not mistaken, it's a bit flexible, but yeah, that's the rough gauge. Right. So after that, then you kind of graduate to like the main class, where you do a bit more advanced techniques and sequences. Then you do your £5 wrestling debut. You have your first debut match. Then from then on, there isn't a very fixed or structured progression system. It's really just see if you're ready and see if there's a spot on the card. So it's a bit flexible in that regard.
Interesting. Interesting. Another thing I wanted to ask as well is like, yes, you have all these, I'm sure assumptions about like how Scottish wrestling is gonna be, things that you weren't unsure of. What were the other students or like wrestlers like first impressions about like you and of course like Singapore wrestling through what you shared with them?
That one might be a better question for them to ask, but from they will be the better judge. But from my understanding, I I think they were, again, trying to be humble here, but they were fairly impressed at the level that I was, especially for someone when at the time I was only like in my first year of pro wrestling. I think they were impressed by my fundamentals and basics. So, which is honestly just a testament to like the Grapplemax teaching methodology. So
I was about to say shout out to the coaches at Grapplemax. Yeah.
Of course. I honestly owe everything to them. Like, Greg, Dennis, Sean, and Dave. I think they were particularly impressed with my crowd work. Because
engaging the audience,
in wrestling, because you don't wrestle in an isolated bubble, right? You do need to engage with the crowd, and I think they were impressed with that. Yeah.
So tell us about your first in-ring experience, like in a match, right? Did they decide for you, okay, we want you to work heel, babyface? Like, how does that whole process come about?
Okay, so it was within like the first 2 training sessions. Actually, during my first training session, I already had a practice match.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that was when they saw like the level that I was at. Then the second training session I had, they were discussing about the next 5-pound wrestling show.
Right.
They were like running down like the respective card at that time. And then one of the wrestlers like couldn't make it, and then it was like, damn it. So the guy in charge of the developmental system there is called Jack Jester, a legendary Scottish wrestler in his own right, specializes in death matches. He was like, damn it, when he heard like one of the wrestlers like couldn't make it. Then he slowly like turned to me and I was like, Kelvin, do you have gear? And I was like, okay. Then I was like, I stood up because honestly my gear, as you guys saw, is just that Nike black shorts, right? And then like the knee pads and the boots, which served its function in my intern gimmick in Singapore. But it's not very, it's definitely not adequate for like the levels that I needed to be at to perform over there. Then he was like, if you can get gear, I might book you like on the card. That was like, awesome, because like I wanted to like take like the first week to like settle in and adapt to their style first before I go up to like the booker and like, hi, can I have a match?
They're like, nope, deep end. There you go, you're ready.
Absolutely.
How long was that before this happened?
So this specific interaction would have been like towards the end of September, as early as that.
About 2-3 weeks.
So I spent, so like then after that I spent like the next 2 weeks looking for gear. Because one of the suggestions was that I could like borrow gear from someone. But then I went on Amazon to look up like pro wrestling gear, pro wrestling tights. Then I came across this like MMA compression tights from an Amazon page. Now I was like, okay, that looks like something that could work for me. And specifically they had this the Chinese lion dance design, but in a more modern style. And my thinking was I wanted my ring attire to sort of like reflect a bit of that Asian vibes. So I specifically bought that one. And then when it arrived like around 2 weeks later, when I wore it for training, like casually, I like didn't really like announce it. We were like warming up. Then Jack Jester looked at me. I was like, Kelvin, is that your gear? I was like, yeah, it is. Then he was like, perfect for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it looks damn cool. It looks like you came out of Shang-Chi, bro.
Very colorful, the orange aesthetic. And the one thing that Jester specifically said that I should get is a colorful gear. Because going back to the first few training sessions I had, when we were doing training matches, right? So for that one, they would split like the heels and the faces. Then he looked at me, I was like, Kelvin, do you work heel or face in Singapore? And I was like, heel. Then he looked at this like nerdish face, right? And I was like, nah, you can't be a heel here. Then he was like, yeah, you work face instead. And I was like,
Oh,
awesome. So
Wow,
I kind of like
okay.
unintentionally like turned face in like Glasgow.
mm.
But yeah, as we can talk as we'll talk about it later, I think it all worked out in the end. So yeah.
Nice, nice. Another thing I wanted to ask, with regards to the impressions about not just Singapore wrestling, what were the impressions of Singapore itself, and like what could you share to them about, or like I'm pretty sure none of them have been there, or
Yeah.
if there
Wait,
was, yeah,
were you the first Singaporean like trainee there?
Yes,
ever.
yes I was. Yes I
Yeah,
am.
Okay.
so I'm
Yeah.
sure they have 1,000,001 questions. So like, what were some of
Okay.
the interesting questions that you actually fielded from them?
Yeah.
Okay, so they know Singapore exists,
Okay.
but maybe they're not too sure about like the specific characteristics of Singapore. I
Mm.
think if I can jog my memory, I think though some of the things that stood out were like the Taylor Swift era's concert
Mm.
period. Yeah,
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
I think that. I think they do know that Singapore is a very like modernized and urban concrete jungle,
Mm.
despite being in like a Southeast Asia kind of like territory. So I think they were aware of that. But in terms of like specific culture, I don't think they knew too much, and that was where I came in to like educate them. So yeah,
Nice.
I explained to them like what a BTO is and and the
Wow.
like the university system. Yeah.
Public housing to them.
Yes, yes.
Can you
Which is
imagine all this-
honestly, yeah, cause like foreign you've been to like Europe before, like high-rise residential buildings is not super common in Europe.
Yeah,
It's more of a it's more of a Singapore and Asian thing.
Yeah. Because of
Yeah.
land, like they have so much land, they don't
Mm-hmm.
need to build high, they can build wide, right?
Yeah. Then I told them like Singapore is like a very small and land scarce like island city state.
Interesting. I love
Stuff
it.
like
Nice.
that. Yeah.
I like half in my mind, like, because you watch so much wrestling, especially in a certain era like the 90s, right? Every time there's a foreigner, this one heel, foreign men is heel. So I'm like surprised. But then again, to your point too, like you're probably there with your glasses, you didn't do your hair. So they were like, hey, this fella, like literally
Oh,
the
boy.
definition of baby
A
face.
baby face. Yeah.
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 So,
That makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that match that you had. Who were you up against, and did you have the pre-match jitters like in a different level?
So if I could trouble you guys, could you guys switch screen and Google Lewis Gervin?
Louis
How,
Gervin.
how do we spell it? I'm on IG
So-
right now.
So Lewis,
Mhm.
then GIRVAN.
Louis
GIRPEN, Gerpen.
VAN.
Gervin.
Oh, VAN.
GIRVAN. Okay, hang on. Is this correct?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes, that's him.
Damn.
So,
Okay.
Lewis Gervin is a 14-year veteran in
wow.
the UK pro wrestling scene.
Right.
He has wrestled like legitimate superstars in like pro wrestling, the pro wrestling industry, the likes of like Big Damo, Ricochet, Malachi Black, Kenny
Oh.
Omega, and the Young Bucks.
Right.
So he has really like wrestled like the creme de la creme of like our industry.
Mm.
So it was about a month before the show where Jester told me that he would be pairing me up with Lewis Gervin because he wanted to pair me up with someone who's like a full-on heel.
Mm.
And then we were in the training session. He said, "Yeah, Kelvin, you're going to be paired up with Lewis Gervin." And I turned to my left and I looked up because he's a really, really tall guy. He's like he's like 188, that kind. Yeah.
Right.
Then I was like, yeah. So like, and he's sort of like a locker room leader in like the asylum. So like, and he's also like a world champion in like other promotions in Glasgow. So I was really paired up with someone of that elite caliber.
Yeah.
And I was like, initially it was like a bit overwhelming because like I was only like my second year as a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
And then like I'm already like paired up with someone who's really gone on to like achieve a lot already, and I'm just like a relative like baby in this industry.
Right.
He
But
kind
then,
of
of
look.
course, sorry.
He kind of looked like Nathan Fraser a bit.
A little,
Yeah.
Little bit.
Fraxium.
Yeah.
Love it.
I was trying to see either of you all would mention that he looks a bit like Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I actually think he looks more like
A
Drew.
bit.
It's the long
Yeah.
hair and
It's
the
the young
Long hair, facial hair.
mustache.
But
Do they all look like that in Scotland? Is it
Walao
like a
eh,
style?
what a generalization that is.
yeah, whoa.
No.
Nah.
It's impressive. They all look like Scottish warriors. Like they are building an army there.
He's an absolute killer, Lewis Gervin. And actually, I forgot to mention the one person I should have mentioned in this like litany of matches. He has also wrestled Drew McIntyre.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, that
Yes.
makes sense then. There you go.
So yeah,
yeah.
being paired up with him, honestly, the initial feeling was honestly overwhelming. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna wrestle like such a legendary wrestler, such a highly respected and world-renowned wrestler. But of course, that's actually to my benefit.
Yes, of course.
Because being paired up with someone of that skill level, he can not say
Uh,
carry me, but like I know that I'm in good hands.
Yeah. I think also it makes sense from a decision perspective, right? Like you are literally the new guy there. They're like, all right, let's put somebody who's been there, done that, can walk him through if needed, that kind of thing. So did you have to like, sit down with Lewis and let's chit chat a bit first, talk about your styles, or had you already like worked with each other during training?
We've worked a wee bit in training, but
there's the Scottish, a wee bit?
Yes.
We've worked a wee bit, lad. There's the Scottishness coming out.
I may have not picked up the accent, but I have picked up a bit of the lingo.
A wee bit. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'm not ever gonna try talking the accent. You're gonna kill me.
I also cannot, so I'm not going to try. But yeah, so when the decision was relayed to me, the information was relayed to me, we had our first like practice match.
Yep.
And prior to that match, we did discuss a bit of the kind of like character that I want to portray, what kind of style I want to wrestle, and then what complemented both of our wrestling style. Then we just worked out from there. We had a practice match which was pretty good, especially considering the fact we only had 5 minutes to plan. But after that, we didn't really have any other practice matches for another month. So I just kept on training, kept on brushing up on like my wrestling skills. Then on the day itself, we did have to iterate from what our original plan was. But honestly, like I think it was a benefit that we didn't like plan too much, because on the show day itself there was a few like unscripted stuff that I think really added to like the match in terms of like the crowd interactions.
Tell us about the crowd. So obviously, you know what it's like in a Singapore crowd. Like this is your first time in a rowdy Scottish crowd, wrestling fans. Was it different? Was it the same? Tell us about the experience.
So it was a family-friendly show, 5-pound wrestling. So like kids were there with their families. So yeah, very much a family-friendly environment.
Right.
And I was honestly surprised by how well I was received and like the love that I got from like the Scottish crowd. Like from the moment my entrance music hit and I came out with like the Singapore flag, they really just like gave me a very infectious level of energy that I fed off from. And honestly,
even though they didn't know who you were.
They didn't.
Wow.
I did like do a bit of like promotional content on like my socials, but you don't always assume that people will watch it. So for like what I'm gonna say is like a mostly new viewer to me, they really took to me like really quickly.
That's cool.
And
that's very cool. Yeah.
Like and there's something I'll always be very grateful for, like the love like they showed. And as a wrestler, like you always worry whether like the crowd will react to you. Like the one thing that wrestlers always worry about is, what if the crowd is like silent? Like what do I do? Then you always like panic. But I never had that sense of like anxiety or panic. Like it really just felt like a perfect combination.
Is it just a European vibe? Like, when we watch wrestling shows in Europe, they're just a bit more excitable, louder. Versus, us Singaporeans, we are very quiet. Like, if we don't know, we're like, who this fella? And then we don't really vocalize a lot, right?
Yeah, I think the Singapore audience specifically can take a bit longer to like warm up to.
Yeah.
But for the Scottish crowd, from my understanding, as long as in the case of like a face, right, you're being honest, you're not trying to overdo it in a sense. You're not trying to be something that you're not. They will, give you the energy that you need.
Nice. That's very cool.
Yeah. And I think in general, Scots it's in their culture to show great hospitality, as they did, as the people in the asylum did on my ever since my first day stepping into the asylum.
Right.
Yeah.
So walk us through the match. Did Lewis come out and do the heel shtick just to rile up the crowd first? Like, yeah, how did that go down?
Yeah, honestly, like it was such a pleasure and honor working with Lewis. Like he really like did everything within his power as a heel to really get the crowd behind me and get the crowd to like boo him.
Yep.
Within his entrance, he was already like throwing like the ring crew like around.
Oh,
Yeah, like
wow.
kind of like roughing them up a little bit. And
Okay.
then yeah, because he's already like an established character. He is he does like diabolical stuff like in like the ICW like main show. So honestly, like we didn't really need to go to over exert effort in terms of like getting the crowd to get behind me and get them to boo him.
It was quite established already in the the dynamics lah. I saw you. I mean, you were moving in fast and quick. You know, in the match, I saw you kind of evading, doing your forward rolls and all that. Was it a case of him like trying to catch up with your speed and trying to grind you down? Is that how the match was laid out?
Yeah. So the style that I wanted to portray was athleticism, because I'm someone that can like move around very quickly and very dynamically. So I wanted to like portray that. And trust me, by no means is Lewis slow. He can definitely keep up with me if like in a shoot sense. But yeah, so it was kind of like that David versus Goliath kind of like dynamic. So yeah, just trying to use my athleticism and agility to sort of like evade him.
Love it. Another thing I kind of like caught on to it was like, even though you know like the match might not have ended up the way you wanted, there was definitely like almost an acknowledgement from Lewis at the end, you know, like kind of giving you a bit of like your flowers or like acknowledging the effort that you put in. How was that moment like for you, and how did the crowd react to that? Because especially at the end, you put out your Singapore flag as well in the celebration.
Yeah, like I said, I really fed off the energy of the crowd, and their energy level is definitely very infectious. I felt it. I like to think that Lewis felt it as well. And I received quite a lot of like comments and feedback about my performance in the match and how they enjoyed it and how they hope to see me in future, ICW and GPWA matches. So yeah, I was also quite taken aback by how well I was received, because it's like you mentioned just now, like it's a bit of a twist on the typical dynamic on a foreigner coming into like the hometown. I was literally the foreign guy versus like the hometown guy, and
and you were the shirt face,
yeah. So a lot of love from the crowd, and the love is definitely reciprocal. I definitely reciprocate that love. And then when I went backstage, like everyone was like giving me hugs, and then like like giving me the acknowledgement about my performance, and yeah, it's definitely something that I'll forever cherish.
So you had that one match while you were there in your time. Do you think that you might, I don't know, make this a yearly thing, or like what are the odds of you going back to have your second match and so on and so forth? Because I mean, it can't be that cheap, lah, dude. It's still like a cost, lah.
As a foreign went to UK last year, I'm sure you know how expensive tickets there are.
Yeah. Give me a couple of years to like recover for that. So like, I can imagine, right? Can imagine.
That is my response. Yeah, give me a couple of years to financially recover. But on my end, there's definitely a desire to like head back to Scotland. And honestly, like I might even, travel to like the other promotions as well, because it's not just ICW. There's also promotions like Power Pro and Iron Gritters with their own like established talents over there with wealth of experience as well. So honestly, what the future holds, who knows? I mean, let my wallet recover first.
Yeah, I mean, can imagine. And there's something very interesting I wanted to note. I was just doing research on Louis Gervin, right? And we followed him on the Tour Guide profile, and he just followed us back. So
awesome.
I'm pretty sure if when the podcast comes out and we like talking clips and about him, what would you say was like the best advice he gave you about wrestling? And imagine him personally listening to the podcast. What would you say back to him as well for your time there with him?
honestly, just a lot of gratitude to him and everyone at like the asylum, like for showing me that love and hospitality. And in terms of advice, I think the best advice he gave me was like to kind of like be flexible in terms of the match structure.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing he always kind of emphasized was not to be too rigid in following a certain structure, A, B, C, D, E, because you can never fully prepare and anticipate how the crowd might react. And as evidence in the
Agreed.
match, there were things that we did do that wasn't necessarily planned,
Mm.
but we did have that flexibility and that wit to react on the spot in terms of how the crowd was. So
Nice.
honestly, having that wit and flexibility.
Is there a video of the full match online somewhere?
There is footage. I have it on my phone. If you guys want, I can show you. I can send you guys the link.
Yeah. Please do it.
Clips,
I
for
would
sure.
love to see. Okay, so now we focus on the quote-unquote short-term future. This upcoming weekend, as we broadcast this on a Monday afternoon, even though we're recording on a Sunday, you understand the time difference. But this upcoming weekend, it's Grapplemax's Causeway Jam 2025. And okay, you've done your stint in Scotland, you come back, and now suddenly you've had a change of heart. All that Showtime business you've put behind you, you're no longer the intern, you're your own man. Talk to us about returning and while leading up to this weekend's match. You yourself, you will have a international triple threat match. We'll very quickly preview some of the rest of it, but let's talk about your match first.
So first of all, just to clarify, correct, you are right in saying that I don't really identify as an intern anymore, but I am still employed under Showtime Inc. currently. So just to get that out of the way first, but you are correct. Having that excursion to Glasgow, I've definitely, and especially representing Singapore on such a global and international level, and the love that I've received, not just from Glasgow, but also from Singaporeans, sending me messages of like support, not just from Grapplemax, but wrestlers from also SPW also sending me like support. It's something I'm definitely very grateful for. So coming back to Singapore, I have a newfound appreciation for what I do in the pro wrestling ring, and I've learned that I don't need to just wrestle for myself or one organization. I can wrestle for something bigger than myself, larger than myself. So yeah, there's definitely that change in mindset for me, for sure.
And talking back as well, the encounter that you had on Grapplemax Amplify, your, I would say, current teammate Julian had a match and kind of gave a very, very bad post match beatdown on Mingray. What possessed you or inspired you to stand up, and kind of like protect Mingray and confront your teammate?
So just to take it back a bit, honestly, when I started out with pro wrestling, right, I had a lot of insecurities whether I could match up to people in Grapplemax, because my developmental process as a pro wrestler wasn't the smoothest. But having grinding it out in training on a week basis, and then traveling to Glasgow, Scotland, and matching up with world-class talent in ICW, I realized that I can match up with people of that caliber. And knowing that, I know that I don't need to resort to backhanded dirty tactics that we used to resort to in Showtime Inc. So when I saw Julian, who is a very talented wrestler in his own right, being a sore loser and beating up Mingray after the match, I thought it was kind of like beneath us. So that's why I confronted him and just told him that there isn't a need to stoop to that level. We are already at a high level. We don't need to bring ourselves further down.
Oh. So would you say that your goal now is to change Showtime Inc. from within, or eventually break out, if that is even, a goal?
I would say that currently we're going through a lot of changes within our organization. Currently, Prabhu's injured. Showtime's handling other business operations, and well, you saw what happened to SPD, but that aside, so we're going through a lot of changes right now. So we definitely do need to like regroup and then we discuss like our focus for 2025.
But of course, the whole theme of this Causeway Jam, right, is the age-old feud. You know, there's US versus Canada, US versus Mexico. Here in this part of the world, it's Singapore versus Malaysia Causeway Jam. It's not just you versus Julian. You have the, additional spanner in the works, as it were, of from MyPW, Kaizul. Tell us a little bit more about Kaizul. What can we expect from him?
So Kaizul calls himself the international hitman, and I think that's for a very good reason. He is someone who likes to employ strikes, both with his hands and with his legs. So he has a very signature knee strike, kind of similar to like Kenny Omega's V-trigger. So definitely want to avoid that, keep my distance from Kaizul, because when he hits hard.
Right. Okay, it's a triple threat. So statistically, you have a 33 and a third chance.
Of course you do. Of course.
The math don't lie.
The math. But Kelvin, tell us your math from your point of view. Why is it more than 33 and a third for you?
Well, for me, I try not to look at the numbers. I try to just look at what's ahead of me. And being booked in a featured matchup with Kaizul, like I said, one of the hardest hitters in MyPW and an established wrestler over there. And with Julian, so like I said, someone who is incredibly talented, and I have no trouble in saying someone who is criminally underrated. He is so clean and smooth in the ring in terms of the technical skills, and also someone who is very committed to his like character work and gimmick. Honestly, one of the best in our region, I dare say.
Agreed.
So being being featured, put in this like triple threat match. I'm honestly just looking forward to showing everyone like a new Kelvin, a Kelvin that's went on to ICW, wrestle about with world-class talent. And I'm just looking forward to showing what I've learned and what I bring to the table now.
Nice.
And when all is said and done, and you stand across the ring with Julian, are you guys willing to come to blows, to get the W? And will you guys still remain good terms after the match?
Will you shake hands, no matter who wins? Will you shake hands with Julian?
Oh yeah,
after
absolutely.
The match?
Like you said, like this is a match based on regional rivalry, Singapore versus Malaysia. But honestly, as a competitor, I just want to compete. I just want to wrestle. I definitely feel the regional rivalry, but honestly, I'm just a wrestler. I want to wrestle. Simple as that.
Okay.
One last thing I wanted to ask is about this match, right? So this is technically your first match back. I'm assuming that if you were to get the W, do you foresee like you already our rising star for last year? You wrestle overseas. Is championship goal the next natural step?
I mean, there's always that famous saying, right? By like I think Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you're not in this to like win titles, then you shouldn't be in this at all.
Yes.
But for me, honestly, I just want to get better as a pro wrestler. That's like the first and foremost always. But also to like push boundaries and see what's on the horizon and see what new grounds I can venture to. Like being like the first Singaporean to not only train but also to wrestle in Scotland, honestly, I'm already creating like a mini legacy for myself. I'm already doing stuff that no one else is doing. So I honestly just want to keep on doing that. And if championship aspirations is what's next, then by all means, I definitely wouldn't say I'm a very competitive guy, so I definitely wouldn't say no to like championship aspirations. But I honestly just like want to like focus. I just want to focus on being a better wrestler and expanding my pro wrestling like resume and portfolio.
I can 100% see why they thought this fella like baby face lah. No need to make him heel lah. Like look at him, look, he's so earnest. You know what I'm saying?
Until he steps into the ring.
Until he steps into the ring. Yeah,
we didn't even talk about the abs yet, bro.
Once the shirt comes off, like it's no holds barred.
Very good, very good. Okay, come, let's preview the rest of the card. Once again, it's happening on Saturday. Are there any more tickets available? or is it
tickets are very
very
limited,
limited,
right?
right?
There's
Okay.
only like a very handful, so
Right.
quickly get your tickets before they sell out.
Go to Grapplemax's Instagram page, their social media page to find out the links. There's a PTix link
Yeah,
if I'm not
PTix, yep.
mistaken. Okay, let's talk about the international tag team match. Fennec Rose and Shawwal. Okay, who are these two? Please explain to me from MyPW if you can.
If you haven't seen them, you are gonna love it. They are so they have a very flamboyant, extravagant like presentation, especially in terms of like their entrances. So
I saw
Phoenix
an
Rose,
Instagram
yes.
video. One of them, they were in some park where it was pink everywhere. Where is this place? Yeah, they film. I also want to know.
That one you need to ask them. But from what I've seen and what I know, Phoenix Rose always comes out to the ring in a very striking pink, so like flamingo pink, like outfit with like the pink scarves, and then he also has this pink wings, I think. So yeah, it's honestly a very big and extravagant presentation. It's honestly caught the attention of everyone in the Grapplemax locker room, and we're just looking forward to seeing it on the day. And the audience should be as well. Yeah, it's something I think will be quite unforgettable.
Hang on, I'm going to show you now that the video
see it as well.
I was talking about. Hang on.
No, I know the promo you're referring to.
Yeah. So you see the dude's in the pink shirt, right? But look at the background.
Yes.
How is it all pink on the? Where is this place? I need to know.
That one you will have to ask.
Oh my gosh!
Themselves.
Like, where is this place they filmed? Yeah.
That one must ask them.
Very cool. But yeah, so this is sort of a taste of what to expect from them character-wise, you know?
Not sure if you can see on my phone, but...
Oh, yes. Very flamboyant, indeed.
Yes, very flamboyant indeed.
Which is the perfect juxtaposition against a team who are, let's face it, quite serious, badass. One's like, more of a shooter type, and then another one is a high flyer, both very serious people. First of all, we got Simon Xia, and we got Lavin, who hopefully this time around will get more than 14 seconds of action.
Yeah, we hope so.
We hope so.
Tell us what you think we can expect from this match.
So as you guys know, Simon is our resident high flyer in Grapplemax. Don't let the diminutive size like deceive you. He can hit and strike as hard as anyone. I've taken a couple of his like rising knee strikes to my chin myself, so I would know. So yeah, do not underestimate Simon. And honestly, like Simon's kind of like one of the more underrated wrestlers in Grapplemax.
Yeah.
Like anyone who's worked with him will attest he's a fantastic worker, very smooth, very buttery in the ring, very pleasant to like work with as well. And as you guys know, he always travels across the causeway itself to come to train at Grapplemax. So honestly, his dedication to the craft is something anyone would admire and respect. Then for Lavin, as you guys know, he's went to Tokyo.
Yep.
Is it Tokyo? Yeah, he went to Japan to train as well. So
he's basically living the full on like in wrestler lives, yeah. Yeah, he quit his job, he went there, he's training full time. Like, wow, kudos to him.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, we both actually went to our respective international countries like around the same time last year. So yeah, honestly, very much respect to him as well for taking that very huge step in upping his pro wrestling game. So as you guys know, Lavin's more of a submission and ground-based grappler. It's in the name himself, in Grapplemax. So honestly, he's living up to that namesake. So you can look forward to a lot of ground-based submissions from him for sure.
And of course, we know their history, right? Lavin and Simon, they were a team before. They fell out, but they're a team again. So is that going to play into it? Can they even work together? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see.
Let's talk about a guy. Well, I mean, you used to know him very well. Then you kind of fell out. Then you went away. Talking about SPD, he has a match against Miles.
Do we have to talk about SPD?
I mean, we can very quickly talk about what you expect from this match. Because, okay, we've seen Miles. We've been very impressed with Miles before. Obviously, we know what to expect from SPD. Kelvin's like trying to think, okay, how can I be PC and talk about this guy I have history with?
What
Okay.
okay? What I'll say about this, I'll say this about SPD. He is definitely one of the top wrestlers, not just in Grapplemax but in Singapore. You know, his in-ring skills, technical skills are all, you know, top level. His character work as well, honestly top level as well. Like when you see him in the ring, it really feels like he's in a fight. It really feels like he really wants to beat up his opponent. And yeah, he's one of the most popular characters. Yeah, in Singapore as well. Like he always captivates the crowd. Crowd's always behind him chanting SPD, SPD, even though I don't know why myself, but yeah. He was even contending for championship gold last year. So no one, not even me, can dispute how good SPD is.
Yes.
I just have, let's just say, professional disagreements with him.
Okay.
Strictly professional. Yeah.
Okay, we can leave it at that. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I think I've mentioned enough about SPD.
I mean, you know, Roman Reigns, when he came back, much beloved, doesn't mean his beef with Cody Rhodes is over. You know what I mean? So
Exactly, and
completely
with
can understand.
yeah, there's history.
Look,
There's history
we-
there.
It's history, but to me, it's ancient history. Whatever
Mm,
disagreements or beef me and SPD had, I think we settled it last year at Fight Club 4. Sorry, no cure at the projector. And honestly, it's one of like it's a very memorable day for me because I think it was kind of like my breakout match last year. I really had a great showing. We don't talk about the result because that's the least important part of that match.
of course.
But yeah. So yeah, having worked with SPD, I think Miles is I think you can look forward to a very feisty match for sure.
Talking about a very feisty match, I love that. It's a beautiful segue we have from my PW Poppy, who once again, I'll remind you that time I talked about Poppy on my gaming stream, and suddenly everybody is like, "Oh, I'm a Grapplemax fan now." Jeez, you guys, stop it. But Poppy is
yes.
going up against Divya.
Ooh,
Yes. So,
okay.
like you mentioned, I think there's a general consensus that Poppy is physically attractive, but don't let that fool you. She
Yes.
is also a physical wrestler herself. She can definitely kick ass. I haven't really met with her in person, so I'll get the chance next week.
Yep.
But I've definitely caught glimpses of her training content on
Here's a
her
glimpse.
social media.
Hey, young had to do that. Okay, anyway.
No, yeah, I'm just checking out Instagram as well.
That is the part of the Instagram I don't look at. What I look at is her training content because she always posts like stories and reels about her training progression, which is honestly something I can really respect and admire.
Right.
Yeah.
And also
So
don't forget as well, she almost had kind of like a brief confrontation with Div because they were a tag team, right? And one of the shows last year, in a mixed tag match. And that was where like we had like a tease of what was to come between the both of them, right?
yes, it would have been Poppy and Wonder Boy versus Hotshot and Divya, correct?
Yes, and that was such an excellent match. Well reviewed by everyone that watched that.
So yeah, for Poppy, don't let the pretty face fool you. She can definitely kick ass.
There you go.
And speaking of kicking ass, we need to talk about Divya.
Of course.
So ever since she's joined Grapplemax like last year, about February-ish, kind of. Yeah. Honestly, she's like shown us like the levels that there are like to this game. Like
Agreed.
whenever she's like in the ring performing, she really has that aura, as the kids like to say. Yeah, she really captivates the room, captures everyone's attention. She really has that sassiness, that personality. I've had my encounters with her before. Yeah, let's just say she's also one that can kick ass. In fact, she showed up the guys in the main event of the previous Amplify in January.
For sure.
And,
I was there.
And I think there isn't a need to caveat her as a female pro wrestler. I think she is just a pro wrestler, period, full stop, end of story. There is no perception whatsoever of her keeping up with us. If anything, the guys are trying to keep up with her.
Nice.
So yeah, absolute badass, absolute pleasure to have in our Grapplemax locker room. And yeah, very much looking forward to this match.
I have campaigned really, really hard for her, especially in that triple threat match. Actually, everyone was really rooting for her to win that number one contender. So don't be surprised if Grapplemax ever have a first female champion, Grapplemax Heavyweight champion. Man,
Yeah.
she's perfect, you know.
Well,
Yeah,
it's open weight and open gender.
if I can reference ICW for a bit, they just had their Square Go match, which is their equivalent of the Royal Rumble, and they just had a female wrestler Rio win it. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
there is I see absolutely no reason why Divya cannot contend for a top championship in Grapplemax.
All right.
Love it.
Talking about championships, let's get down to the championship chatter. Grapplemax Tag Team Championships. Ships Ahoy! A team we have history with, yeah. Well, more like you, Foreign. Versus Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Yes. Talk about that. Ships Ahoy, a little bit of a different vibe. Technically, you were back already when they started sailing into dark waters. Metaphorically speaking.
I love it.
Also,
Were you?
anyways, I think the great thing about Ships Ahoy is that Christian and Sarah really complement each other
Yeah.
perfectly. They're really like peas in a pod. Like outside of wrestling, they have kind of like creative related jobs.
Yeah.
So I
correct.
think they have like the same mindset and mentality as well. I think that's also why they complement each other perfectly. So I just think that they're taking this like friendship chemistry a wee bit too far. Yeah.
Do you think?
And I would know as someone who's like, employed those dastardly tactics myself.
Sure.
But yeah, I think they're being a bit delusional now.
Oh, do you think they have a shot? I mean, Aussie. Well-oiled team, well-loved, beloved team as well, firing on all cylinders.
Absolutely. I mean, if we're talking about machines and chemistry, right, then we don't have to look further than, the Aussies.
Yeah.
Like everyone, I think their history and backstory has been well documented. And honestly, I don't think there is a better representative for Grapplemax in terms of like a tag team sense. So yeah, if Ships Ahoy really want to dethrone our inaugural champions, they really need to make sure that their chemistry, is really firing on all cylinders.
Okay, so let's talk about the main event then. It's for the Grapplemax Openweight Championship. Wonder Boy versus Hot Shot. Okay. More than anything, we need to keep the championship in Singapore. That's the whole vibe of Causeway Jam anyway, right? Defend against the invaders, quote unquote. Talk to Abbas about this. Is this Hot Shot's biggest challenge to date, you reckon?
For me, I always feel like Hot Shot's biggest challenge is always his next challenge, especially as a champion. Everyone's gunning for you. You can't always rest on your laurels. You can't be too fixated on the past, as you always have like a target on your back, and it's always the next threat that is your most dangerous. And as the ace of Grapplemax now, to me, when I joined Grapplemax in May 2023, he was always the ace to me as like one of the new generation wrestlers. So, and I think he's represented Grapplemax well as a wrestler, as our top champion, and coming up against Wonder Boy, who's, if I'm not mistaken, about a decade of a veteran. Yeah, it's a very talented wrestler in his own right.
Yeah.
I think Hot Shot, I hope he's preparing well. That's all I'll say. I hope he's preparing well, because Wonder Boy will definitely bring it to him.
And let's not forget, Miles is going to be in Wonder Boy's corner.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Always the X factor there, right?
Looking at the poster, very sneaky. The size just at the corner there.
There. He's right there. He's there. He's smiling away.
To be fair, he has his own match with SPD, so
he might be out of action.
We'll see.
Yeah, technically, Greg and Remus, they're all around, so maybe they'll do the runoff.
As much as Miles will be in Wonder Boy's corner.
Yep.
With it being a home ground match, I think Hot Shot does have that home ground advantage with the Singapore crowd behind it. So no, I don't think Hot Shot's alone in this.
I expect
by no means is he alone.
Right. I expect the 3.5 chance. I expect the it's always fun. Like it's always fun. This quote unquote imaginary rivalry. Let's put it that way.
But one last thing I wanted to ask as well about the championship match, with your personal opinion as well, Kelvin. What do you think of Hot Shot's run in general, And what is one thing that you would want to take away from him, and in terms of how he has
His
been
belt.
carrying
That's
the
the
title?
one thing he wants to take away from him. His belt.
Yes, the belt physically, but like, you know, in terms of like lessons or like how he has been carrying himself as champion, what would you want to take away from that?
Well, like I said, I don't think there could have been a better representative for Grapplemax as the ace than Hotshot. I really respect like his dedication to like the craft and also trying to balance and juggle real life responsibilities. It's something that as a student trying to grapple with the responsibilities as a student, I honestly don't know how he does it.
Right.
So honestly, just a lot of respect to him and frankly anyone who is willing to juggle both being a pro wrestler and a working Singaporean, because like the culture here can be tricky with like the work-life balance. So
and he's been a champion for over a year, right? I mean, that shows the longevity. And I always go back to this story when I talk about Hotshot, right? I actually ran into him like literally in the middle of the night in Toa Payoh, jogging by himself, because apparently he lives pretty near to my partner. So I was like, hey, Hotshot, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, bro, going for a jog. And I looked at the time, it was 11 p.m. on a weekday.
The hustle is real. Why do you think
he
there's so many?
He doesn't just have the skills of a world champion, he has the work ethic of a world champion as well. And I think that is something that's rubbing off on everyone in the Grapplemax locker room. And he really is the ace that everyone's trying to keep up with.
Do you see yourself as the ace one day? Is that the goal, or is that something that you don't think about?
So as a wrestler, I just try to focus on the wrestling. Any byproducts like accolades, awards, whatever, honestly to me it's just a bonus. I let my wrestling do the talking.
I love it.
There you go. There's your Causeway Jam preview. Once again, if you haven't gotten your tickets, there might be a few left. Go to PTix, go to Grapplemax's Instagram or social media accounts and see if you can get some tickets. We want to see you there. It's going to be a lot of fun this upcoming Saturday. Yes.
I will be there. I'll try my best, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see Kelvin's return.
Yes.
First match back, and should be a good time. So
Absolutely.
you local wrestling fans.
217 days. Every single night I've been thinking about this day. So trust me, you don't want to miss it.
Let's go. Kelvin, thank you so much for taking out time to chat with us here on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. Please get back to whatever it is you were doing, probably doing 10,000 more sit-ups to get that, the abs to pop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, gotta look good for the show.
Before you leave, right, since, very inspirational, swole fella, right, can you give us some fitness advice that you would give to a fellow student who's trying to get his life together, his body together, or like working professionals like us who definitely need to get our body together? What advice would you give to get people to start being active?
My first advice would be ask someone more qualified like Dave, who is an actual fitness trainer.
Okay.
But for me, my advice always is to don't be afraid to take the first step, because it's always that first step that's always the hardest, getting over that initial inertia. But to me, as long as you can get over that first step and start that habit building process, it's I think that's when I feel like everything will fall into place, because it's always that leap of faith that you do need to take if you really want to see like actual change in like your life.
And are you working out like every day? Seems
No. I'm actually not that big. I only weigh like 70 kg.
No, but you are ripped though. That's that's what it is.
I try my best. I only work out like twice a week.
Twice a week? Wait, so okay. Now I
on.
need to know your diet. Is it you are very clean? You eat very clean,
What
is it?
is the food secret, bro? Tell us.
Like chicken breast and broccoli?
Oh my god.
Or is it the metabolism of youth?
Okay, to be fair, in terms of diet, it's just depending on my mom's cooking. But
Okay.
the
home
mom
cooked
the
food is
personal
healthy.
chef, bro. Yeah.
mom's food hits different. But honestly, like you don't gotta worry about whether you're training once, twice, 3 times a week. You just gotta take that first step and start building the habit and have the discipline to maintain that habit. Because like a lot of people, they kind of like don't keep up, and I think that's also another barrier. So really just take the first step and have the discipline to keep maintaining.
There you go. Kelvin, once again, thank you so much for your time. We will see you this Saturday, and all the best, of course, in your match.
Thank you for having me.
Let's go.